in the United Drivers League. It is the greatest spectacle in racing. Thank you for joining us. I'm joined in the commentary booth by Jonathan. Thank you for joining us, and we are extremely excited for the start of the race. Before we begin the race, we will be having a intro section where we will play Taps, the national anthem, and Back Home Again in Indiana. After that, we will get race command from Jonathan, and we will begin this Indianapolis 500. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remove your caps as we begin our rendition of the national anthem, performed by Indiana's own Jim Cornelison.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose cross stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang round your bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sing the last star-spangled banner yet
His voice has become synonymous with the Indianapolis 500 event. Please join us, ladies and gentlemen, for our rendition of Back Home Again in Indiana, performed by Jim Neighbors.
And now for the race command from Jonathan.
Drivers, start your engines.
And now we get ready, ladies and gentlemen, for the start of the Indianapolis 500. All of the drivers are readying up, and we are getting set for the beginning of the greatest spectacle in racing. United Drivers League is proud to present the Indianapolis 500 to you, ladies and gentlemen. Today, unfortunately, due to the pandemic in the world today, we do not have an actual Indianapolis 500 here, but we will be giving it to you today through us, and hopefully we can put on a great show for you.
Yeah, it's looking to be a great race today.
And we're just getting set for all of the drivers to get ready, and we will begin the race. Jonathan, I just think on your end you have to press start as well.
Oh, sorry about that.
And we're just waiting on Pecan 36 to get in for ready, and we will begin the formation lap. We'll go over the starting lineup here for your Indianapolis 500. 16 drivers on the grid today. It was a fantastic set of qualifying sessions for Indianapolis, and I can't wait for the race to unfold, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we have some top talent in the UDL participating in this race. From WEC drivers, F1 champions, Monaco Grand Prix winners. It's looking to be an incredible race today.
And we're just getting set here, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest story, though, I think, out of qualifying, all of the Andretti cars are not on the grid today. They were bumped from qualifying. There is no Andretti Motorsport cars on the grid. Every single Andretti car got bumped from qualifying, so not good showing from the Andretti Autosports team. And that is unfortunate to see, of course, Andretti being such a huge name here at Indianapolis, but we only have the Chip Ganassi and Penske teams, the big teams here. Penske and Chip Ganassi, of course, will be going for all-out war right now here at Indianapolis. Who can come out on top? Who has the most drivers ahead of who? But no Andretti cars, so quite a surprise to see Jonathan there.
Yeah, Andretti is such a large name specifically at Indianapolis, and it's kind of sad to not see any on the grid, but these Ganassi and Penske cars are going to have an all-out war for these 200 laps.
Jonathan, you can go into the race director. I'll be commentating for a moment, and we'll get everybody set up for the formation lap, and everybody will get into their regular grid positions. So, of course, no Andretti cars. We do have 16 cars on the grid today, and I will also go over all the teams so that we do have. It's Pecan, Warrior, Drive the Guard, and Dale the Whale for Chip Ganassi Racing. Cone Dodger, Sinister Owl, Snipper Pig, and Intersport are on Penske Racing. Rahal Letterman has Dylan 4243 and Laser Runner, and Lazier has Mr. Damage for himself. Dreher and Rainbold have James Sudd. AJ Foyt Enterprises has Lightning STR. Team Murray with Hefe. Dale Coyne Racing with Ari Speed. And Ed Carpenter Racing has the Alien Racer. So there are your cars for the teams. And we are just getting set in just a few moments. All the cars will be lining up into their positions. In 1911 was the very first Indianapolis 500, and while it wasn't the most successful race in the face of the earth, and definitely wasn't the most exciting one we've had in the very long history, over 100 years of Indianapolis 500s, it was, of course, the most memorable one in terms of it. That's the start of it all, ladies and gentlemen. You can't not mention Indianapolis without bringing up the first race in 1911. Since then, we've had over 100 races of non-stop packed action. We'll be going over some of those throughout the race. And we're just getting ready. Jonathan is setting up all the drivers so they get into their normal grid positions. We will have one go around in the race. And here we go. All the drivers are going away now. They are beginning their formation lap. Let's go over the grid lineup here for your Indianapolis 500. Going through all of the rows. Row number 1 is Dale the Whale. In the middle is going to be SSJ GZ Warrior. On the outside will be Snipper Pig 007. Row number 2 will have SDX Cone Dodger. In the middle, Pecan 36. And on the outside, Intersport 37. Row number 3 is going to have Sinister Owl 43. Drive the Guard in the middle. And on the outside, Mr. Damage. Row number 4 is host to Laser Runner 13579 in the middle, Hefe 1120, and on the outside, Aries Speed in the number 36 car. Row number 5 on the inside, Dylan 4243. On the middle is Lightning 9 STR. On the outside, the Alien Racer. And the only car on row number 6 on the inside is James Suds. Now, I did see some damage on some of the cars as they're coming around now to start the lap. There's a few front wing end plates that were on the side of the track, but nonetheless, we're just getting ready for all the cars. They will begin moving soon. There's just 2 more cars to go. It is James Suds and the Alien Racer, but they're all coming around now. They will be instructed to then... So we're getting calls for a restart.
Sorry, everyone. There was an unexpected disqualification that resulted in a restart. We will be back to racing here very soon.
So unfortunately, we do have a restart, ladies and gentlemen, but I did see some damage on the lap there, so something must have accidentally happened. I'm presuming we're going to be setting up a new lobby. Jonathan, you can confirm that?
Yes, sorry, what was that?
Yeah, are we setting up a new lobby, or are we...
Yes, we are.
Okay.
There was an unexpected disqualification.
It's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Things happen. Disney World did not get off to a great start when it opened. I think we're okay, and I think as a organization it is okay to have a few mess-ups here and there, but hopefully everything should go A-okay for the start of the next race. We're just getting in here, and... we will get started for the race. We can go over some of the drivers and their reactions to, though, with this Indianapolis 500 predicted drivers. Warrior getting a lot of predictions for the win. Pecan 36 as well. Of course, he is from this great place, and he wants to win this race so much so. And Pecan and Warrior seem to be the biggest favorites here. Jonathan, who is your favorite, in your opinion, to win the race?
Well, Pecan definitely has the momentum coming in from last year. He won the Sector 3 Indianapolis 500 last year. So he has the momentum, but SSJ and Dale the Whale both seem to have incredible pace. And I would not be surprised if either of them take the win.
So we're just loading back up in here just to talk about some of the drivers from the other UDL. Of course, we don't have everybody from UDL in here, but a lot of drivers giving up their thoughts. Racer X, WSR F1 driver, he believes it's going to be Pecan. He's the most consistent driver I've ever seen on an oval, and is the driver that beat at Indy. X Breezy, another UDL F1 driver, says Warrior will win with Pecan in second, Sinister in third. So he's given all 3 drivers their top 3. We also have Texas Time 214. He's a UDL, WCL, and P1 driver. He thinks it's going to go to Dale because he's on pole. So we definitely have a lot of predictions from the UDL drivers. quotes from the day. Some people. Snipper Pig was asked about starting P3 with his experience starting from the front behind him. What does he believe? And he said, it's a little intimidating, but thinking experienced drivers beneath me is really going to help. My goal is to slot in as soon as possible and not cause a massive wreck in the turn one. Jonathan's going to get back into the Discord and set up all the drivers. Hopefully nothing too serious goes wrong. Intersport asked about his personal goals for the races. I'm going to pour some milk out once I cross the start-finish line starting lap number 2. So he is getting ready for that win. Dylan 4243 was asked about how nervous he was from the qualifying and the pressure that comes with it. He's like, I was only a little nervous about qualifying. I'm a better racer than qualifier since I'm confident in keeping clean and getting to the end. Of course, Pecan, being a big favorite for a lot of the drivers, he was asked what he was worried about. He's like, I'm worried about my team for sure. We're all really fast and about equal. And the one I'm worried about the most, that isn't only my team, is Team Penske. I respect all the drivers in the race because we're all really close to each other's pace. Hefe 1120 was asked about his inexperience compared to some of the other drivers. He said, the field of talent is amazing with experience. I'm just happy that I was able to be part of qualifying for this prestigious event in P11. The pressure of performing at a high level is very real, but I'll keep my level head and steady hands. All the cars are now moving. We're beginning the lap. Of course, we did go over the qualifying grid, and we are just a few moments away from what is, again, one of the greatest spectacles in motor racing. It's part of the Triple Crown for the reason, of course, this would be the same weekend as well as the Monaco Grand Prix, which unfortunately has not happened because of the coronavirus pandemic. And, of course, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the other part of the Triple Crown. All the cars, though, are now getting ready for their laps. And you can see all the cars moving there now, getting into their positions. The cars will go around just once. They will go into their rows of 3. We'll have the red lights and then the green lights, which will begin the race. Like we said, 1911 was the very first Indianapolis 500 here at the Brickyard. Though not really made of too much brick nowadays, just that single brick line that ends a lap and begins another. Indianapolis, of course, not just holding the Indianapolis 500, holding many other great events, including the Brickyard 400 from NASCAR, though the Brickyard 400 has had a little bit of a waning popularity in NASCAR, but the Indianapolis 500 will always be a prestigious race event every single year. Millions of people around the world go to watch the Indianapolis 500, and I'm seeing the lobbies going down. Are we having a problem again with drivers, or I'm not sure if there's an issue going on. I'm only seeing 9 drivers on my runners. Jonathan, if you're available, if you can let me know if there's anything going on.
Yeah, there was one other issue. This will be the final restart. If any issues arise in the next one, there will be a green flag no matter what.
What exactly happened? Do we know what happened?
There was a disconnection on one of the drivers. It has been called by the league owner that there will be a restart, but this is the last restart.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize for everything that is going on. We are trying our best, but technical difficulties arise nonetheless. But the final restart, we will have a green flag nonetheless, no matter what happens in the next restart. This is the final restart, and we will get underway. Again, we do apologize for the inconvenience, ladies and gentlemen, but nonetheless, we will get started very soon for this Indianapolis 500 in the United Drivers League. If you aren't subscribed to the United Drivers League YouTube channel, you should be, because you can catch in a lot of other great action, including the World Endurance Championship and the Formula One World Championship here at UDL. And you can definitely listen to Jonathan, as he is the commentator for the Formula One League, and it is definitely very exciting. United Drivers League filled with many great, talented drivers. And if you aren't already, again, please be subscribed to the YouTube channel and make sure to turn on your notification bell to learn about future races that United Drivers League will be holding. We are hoping to plan some more big races besides the initial Indianapolis 500. But here we are first for the greatest spectacle in racing nonetheless.
All right.
Let me just get voted to start.
We are missing one driver. They will be in soon. And there we go.
So all the drivers are in here. We're just getting ready for the start, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we do apologize for the inconvenience, just some unfortunate game problems. We have heard about some connection issues on PlayStation Network, but we are live nonetheless, looking good for the broadcast. It's 200 laps around here, which is 500 miles here at Indianapolis. And while, yes, we do have races like the Daytona 500, which bring a great spectacle on its own right, there's really nothing like Indianapolis, Jonathan.
Yeah, I completely agree. The only, really, to me, the only other race that comes in the same realm, which it still doesn't compare, is the Le Mans 24. But there is something about the history of Indianapolis that is just very special.
The special moments of Indianapolis, the speed, the talent that's required around Indianapolis. Indianapolis is not your traditional oval. It's very bumpy. It's very difficult to drive. Drivers have to be extremely precise and eloquent with their driving in order to really master this track. It's one thing to go around in a circle. It's another thing to master a circle, in this case an oval, and a quite long oval in Indianapolis. But it's not an easy going for the drivers, to say the least.
No, it is definitely not.
And again, Jonathan will be going back into Discord. He will set up all the drivers. Again, this is the final restart, so anything that does happen, we will just go along with the race. We do apologize again for all of the delays, but nonetheless, let's get set for action here, ladies and gentlemen, for the Indianapolis 500. Last year's winner, Simon Pagenaud. And let's see who this year's winner is here today in UDL. The winner of the Indianapolis 500 traditionally is the drinker of the milk, which started in 1936. Louis Meyer won his third Indianapolis 500. He drove his car into victory lane and decided, well, I'm going to have some buttermilk to celebrate. This is something Meyer did quite often to refresh himself, and it has become a staple of the Indianapolis 500. Everybody, it's not champagne you're drinking in Indianapolis, it's the milk you're drinking. And it has become a great tradition here in Indianapolis, so somebody will be drinking milk when they win this race at home, hopefully, unless they're lactose intolerant, which in that case we don't know what to do. Maybe some coconut milk if they have it around. All the drivers will be getting in their positions. We will pull to the left side of the track. In this case, it's my right on the screen. And they will all move ahead of each other in order to get into their correct qualifying positions. There is, of course, an order here of drivers, but unfortunately, you're not really able to set up custom grids in Project Cars 2, so all the cars just have to move to their correct grid positions. So we were just waiting to get everybody set up for that. Apologize, ladies and gentlemen, just setting myself up for the correct back support. We're going to be here a long time, ladies and gentlemen. Now all the cars are moving now, and they will get into their positions in just a moment here for this Indianapolis 500. Oh, that was somebody putting it into the wall almost a little bit there. That's the last thing you want to be doing here. The last thing you want is a little bit of inward motion from your steering wheel. You definitely want everything aligned and good to go. The final restart is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. This is the the time where all of the heartbeats pound to their absolute maximum when the pressure is on. Hopefully everybody put their boost pressure up from qualifying so we're not going too slow, or we're going to have a lot of blue flags here this evening. And everybody is just getting ready to go. All the cars are beginning to move. Again, like we said from the big story, there are no Andretti Autosport cars on the grid. They are all bumped from qualifying, a poor performance in qualifying for all of those drivers. It's really Chip Ganassi versus Team Penske. All the drivers from Chip Ganassi and Penske are all relatively in the top 8 positions. So they will be looking for the best position starts. And, oh, are we, okay, somebody joined back in. Oh, are we doing another restart? I guess we're doing another restart. Jonathan, if you can give us an update. Again, I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but unfortunately we are having issues in the game.
Do not have word.
I only saw 14 runners on the side, so something must have happened. We have a few drivers that are in fact running, but most of the people have left. Assuming we're waiting for another invite to another lobby. But we have no update on as to what the problem is.
Alright, I'm assuming... I did receive an invite to a new lobby.
I do sincerely apologize, ladies and gentlemen. It seems that we've done a few mock races to make sure everything worked, but it seems that every time we, when the big deal happens for everything, it always seems to go wrong, not just for this, but for pretty much everything. You think that you're good to go, and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, been a bit of a struggle getting it started, but I have no doubt once we get started it'll be great racing all the way through.
Just waiting for all the drivers to get into the roster so we can begin the race. And we don't exactly know why that last restart happened, but I'm presuming maybe another disqualification of some kind or something, but nonetheless, we will get started rather soon here. Jonathan, do these kind of restarts, do these unnerve you a little bit? Does this change your feeling ahead of the first one? Of course, it's just good to get started right away, but does this help with, or de-help a little bit? De-help, that's a word. Does this hurt your chances with racing in general? Does this kind of kill your momentum a little bit going into the race?
I think as a driver, definitely, it might actually calm your nerves a little bit, because you have a little more time to calm yourself and get ready for the race. So it might actually benefit some of these drivers. Others, they might get a little more stressed. I'm not really sure, but
I'm sure Pecan's feeling a little bit of the pressure. All the drivers are in the lobby now, so we will be able to get started. Hopefully this will be the final restart and nothing happens, but it seems PlayStation, the game, everything is trying to go against us today, ladies and gentlemen, but Indianapolis prevails.
I actually did get confirmation. Somebody readied up and it kicked them out of the lobby.
Fantastic.
So.
Great game. 10 out of 10. We're just getting set, ladies and gentlemen, though. We will now begin. I'm presuming that's the final time. We shouldn't have any other problems. We're just loading up into the lobby now. Of course, Jonathan, again, he will go into his Discord chat, get all the drivers ready to go, and get into their qualifying order positions. Then they'll line up 3 by 3 by 3, and so on and so forth. And there's all your drivers. And a massive crowd of over 100,000 people have congregated for now the 4th time here at Indianapolis to begin the Indianapolis 500 here for the United Drivers League. We have 16 cars on that grid right there. If that ever goes down, I presume this is the final restart, so we may just have to deal with who we have at the moment. And let's get set for action, ladies and gentlemen. And here we go. The cars are now moving. We will move over to the left side of the track. Get everybody. I'm sure all the drivers are a little bit more knowing of what they have to do now, as they've had to do this a few times here, but nonetheless, they are well prepared for their formation lap. And then we just have to form up 3 by 3 and get on with our first lap of 200 here at Indianapolis. And here all they are, the cars are starting to move into their positions. Jonathan is just instructing all the drivers to get into their proper formation positions for the start of this race. Well, it seems like everything technically is going A-OK, so we should have a full 16 grid start for the race. Again, for cars just joining us, I will go quickly over the grid lineup here, so everybody knows who is who and where. Row number 1, on the inside, Dale the Whale. Middle is Warrior, and on the outside, Snipperbig. Row number 2, on the inside is Cone Dodger. In the middle, Pecan 36, and on the outside is Intersport 37. Row number 3 holds Sinister Owl. On the inside, in the middle, Drive the Guard, and on the outside, Mr. Damage. Row number 4 holds Laser Runner. On the inside, Hefe 1120 in the middle, and on the outside is Aries Speed. Row number 5 is home to Dylan 4243 on the inside. In the middle is Lightning 9 STR, and on the outside is Alien Racer. And row number 6, the only driver in row number 6 holding is James Suds. A little easy actually, sorry, for James Sud on row number 6. Having no cars around him, he can get a nice clean getaway. We do have, in fact, 16 cars for this start of the race. So that is good to see. All the cars are now just warming up their tires, trying to warm up their car as much as possible to have as much of a nice race. This is the 2016 IndyCar. Of course, this is the oval configuration. If you're not familiar with IndyCar, they do road courses as well as the regular circuits and the ovals. So there are two versions of the car. This is the oval configuration, of course. The front wing's a lot skimpier, the rear wing's a lot skimpier, the downforce significantly reduced. And you can see all the cars now lining up into their little positions here. If you can get the track up for me, Jonathan, in a moment, that would be good, just so we can see what turn they're on. And here they come for the start. It's going to get dicey here, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm extremely excited for the start of this motor race. It's the Indianapolis 500 coming up in just a few moments. They're now just coming around for the final turn. Thank you for joining us. This is the United Drivers League. This is the Indianapolis 500. Let's get set. It's going to be a good one. Coming to the line.
Green, green, green.
And around turn 4, this is the start of the Indianapolis 500. There is Intersport right there. And in the lead of the race, if I can just get up all of the acronyms that I was sent today, is SSJ's in second, and it's Dale the Whale who leads them away in the first part of this race. He is caught up in the middle here, and the drivers now are just going to race here. Again, this is a long race, 200 laps around here, 500 miles, and there is Dale the Whale in the lead of this Indianapolis 500. It was a very clean getaway for all the drivers, if though a little bit slow for some of them. And there is Cone Dodger. He's sitting in 4th right now on the grid. But a good start, Jonathan, for all the drivers, though. A few got away a little bit slower than they would have liked to, and have been bogged down a little bit down the pack.
Yeah, great start overall, though. No incidents, which is great to see after the issues we had before. It's really nice to see it. Green flag racing.
We're on lap number 4, and it is Dale the Whale in the lead. There was a challenge there for a bit there from Pecan 36. He is currently in 3rd position. And Pecan, of course, one of the favorites to win here. Cone Dodger still sitting in 4th. And there's Pecan. He is riding up the back of SSJ, and he's moving to the inside lane. And ultimately backs off, though. Drivers are going to keep it nice and steady here. The Penske cars are going to relatively stay and give up their positions. They are going to try to save fuel. If they do, in fact, get into the lead, they are going to be switching positions a lot because you do tend to lose a lot of fuel, and they do want to stay relatively A-OK. Going into the last part of the race. Of course, in the last part, it's all no holds barred. Drivers are going to try to win the best they can. But a little bit of a inside strategy, I was told by Pecan 36, that Penske drivers will be moving positions rather a lot here, as Pecan has taken the inside line here, and he will take 2nd position here in this Indianapolis 500. A great move on Warrior, and coming in the turn number 4, it has been a great start for him, and he moves up to 2nd behind Dale.
Showing great beginning pace here, which is good to see from him after his bit of a disappointing qualifying session in the Fast 9.
James Suds, meanwhile, I'd like to mention, has not had a good start to this race, already 10 seconds behind the last runner, so he is having a lot of problems early on in this race. And he looks to be actually going quite slow on track. I don't know if he has damage. Hefe sitting in 15th. He is for 5 seconds behind the next car. And Hefe did quite good in the Freedom 100 race, but he is not having the greatest of time here. And there's Sinister Owl, and he's in a battle of his own right now. He is sitting in 6th position in this race. And there's a spin!
Whoa.
And there's a huge crash! And that's going to be a caution in this race. That was a huge crash. And there was a car in the air. I'm not exactly sure who that was. And that's our first caution of the day. And it's Pecan 36. A huge incident for him. He's still good to go. The car is okay. Wheel has not come off. That's also Alien Racer involved. But massive damage for Pecan 36. His car seems okay. I'm not sure if I don't believe there's a wheel off that car, but he definitely has lost his wing. And that's a massive incident here at Indianapolis. Lap number 7. Dale the Whale still in your lead here. Cone Dodger moves up to 2nd, and Snipper Pig in 3rd. But Pecan, wow. The last driver we expected to be getting into an incident this early on in the race. But again, anything can happen here at Indianapolis, and not good for Pecan. And I didn't see exactly what happened there. It looked like one of the there was one car in the back there, one of the red cars, and Pecan is still there on track, not able to move. I don't know if one of his wheels has come off, but he is not moving at all on track. Jonathan, did you see exactly what happened there on that? What happened? He was able.
I wasn't able to see it perfectly. It looked like somebody went up on him slightly and just might have clipped his front wing slightly. Cannot know for sure, though.
Unfortunately, nonetheless, he is unable to move that car at the moment. But we are currently under yellow conditions right now. Huge accident here at Indianapolis. Lap number 8 of 200. And Pecan 36, he's still not moving, so I don't know if he's having problems with his car or not, but he is not in the pit lane. Not too sure what's going on with him. The Alien Racer is in the pits. And Pecan's out. Pecan's out of the race. Pecan has retired from this Indianapolis 500. A huge disappointment for Pecan. He is out of this Indianapolis 500. And it is only going to be at the moment lap number 9. And that is a huge disappointment for him. Absolutely gutting, as there are cars now more going into the pits. That is Warrior sitting down in 13th, and we also have James Suds in the pit. Jonathan, your reaction, Pecan out of the race already, and that's one of our big runners here in this Indianapolis 500. That just goes to show anything can happen here at the Brickyard.
Definitely not what we wanted to see. I'm not really sure exactly what happened, but that's very disappointing.
It's just you work so hard for this race. This is the big one for a lot of people, and sometimes it just doesn't go right, unfortunately. And I definitely know the feeling of preparing for a race for a long time and have it just not go your way. But we just now have only 15 runners here at Indianapolis. Pecan 36 out within the first 10 laps, so that is an unfortunate.
Is somebody left?
Not too sure. There's the Alien Racer coming out of the pits now. Finally,
No.
No, I'm not seeing any. Well, it might be the Alien. Obviously, Alien is lapped. Still under caution conditions here at Indianapolis, ladies and gentlemen, and big action in the first 10 laps now. And Pecan 36, unfortunately, out of this race with a huge accident, which has brought out our first yellow. Of course, I don't believe it's going to be our last yellow. But hopefully not too many huge accidents to cause yellows. Hopefully just some spins. Drivers can keep going. But Pecan was not able to move his car, and unfortunately has retired from this session. And he is out of this race. And that is some disappointment. So very early on in this race. The last thing you want so quickly to be out of a race you've worked so very hard for. The last thing drivers do want to be doing is, of course, running out of gas. Of course, so like I mentioned there, Pecan letting us know that Penske drivers were going to be letting each other by if they were in the lead in order to not lose fuel. Robbie Gordon Homer knows that very well, and he was running in the 1999 Indianapolis 500, and he pitted. And his team thought he pitted if he lapped on 164. He was going to be able to go till the end. Unfortunately, the white flag flew. Robbie Gordon running out of gas. And that is what happened to him. And unfortunately for him. And we're under green conditions here as they're coming around the final turn here. And we're back under green conditions here at Indianapolis. Robbie Gordon running out of gas, though, at the end of the race and unable to finish his race, and that is unfortunate. Now, as you can see right there, that is Cone Dodger. And in the Penske cars, the two Penske cars might have to get into a little bit of a scuffle here. Dale the Whale got a fantastic start, and Chip Ganassi leading well here in this Indianapolis 500, lap number 11.
Okay. Keep green flag racing for a while here.
And somebody went wide there. I don't know if they went into a wall. There's a big crash, and already another crash. And that is going to be a caution again, and we have not even made a lap. Somebody has already gone into the wall. And I'm not too sure who that was. I'm sure we'll pan to them in a moment. And one of them's Dylan. And Drive the Guard. Mr. Damage, one of them, Drive the Guard as well. So, big problems for everybody. And we didn't even make a lap there, and already problems for drivers. So, we made it through the first few laps of cleanness, and it's been a little bit unsmooth sailing for drivers so far under caution, though. Jonathan, do you think drivers are getting a little bit too antsy even on the early part? Are they not settling in enough, maybe like they should be? Jonathan is race director, so if his responses are delayed a little bit, then that is why. Nonetheless, though, we have 3 cars in the pit lane right now, all getting repairs on their cars. And there has been major accidents since lap number 7. And we're on lap number 12 of 200, coming on to 13. And we are having a lot of issues for some of the drivers, to say the least. And the last thing we want is a long 5-hour, 6-hour Indianapolis 500 under caution because of crashes. So hopefully drivers get a little bit more settled, They settle their emotions, and they keep everything all well okay. Absolutely gutted, though. Pecan 36 out of this motor race. Such a shame for him. We still have 15 runners, though. Everybody in that previous accident was A-okay to go. And hopefully Jonathan can join me a little bit more in the commentary booth here. He doesn't have to do too much action in the race director. And he can talk a little bit more to me during this broadcast, or else my throat will be dead by the end of it.
Green?
Green, green, green. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is the next green conditions, and we are ready to go here. Jonathan, though, your reaction, though, our driver's getting a little bit too antsy in this race.
Yeah, I would have to say they are. It's going to be, if it continues like this, it's going to be a very long day and a lot of race directing.
A lot of race directing, but it is still Dale the Whale currently leading your Indianapolis 500. Cone Dodger and Snipper Pig second and third in this race. So the Chip Ganassi guys are in the lead, but ultimately it's the Penske drivers currently having the highest positions at the moment in total of drivers. So they are doing quite well right now, and that Snipper Pig currently in third. The last thing you definitely don't want to be doing, though, is hitting your teammates. So I'm sure that both the Penske guys and the Chip Ganassi guys will be staying relatively nice of each other. And that was a jump from Alien Racer. It looks like he got some air there at the oval.
Yeah, not what you want to be doing.
No, I don't think the suspensions are too good for that. Dale the Whale losing a little bit of time to Cone Dodger, and he's trying to break the slipstream a little bit here. And that's definitely, Cone Dodger is definitely catching up to him. Getting back into the pack a little bit. Intersport sitting in fourth. He's had a pretty good restart here, and he is in the pack now behind the Penske of Snipper Pig.
Good racing here while we were green.
Dale the Whale, pretty much a flawless race for him so far in this motor race. And it is... Cone Dodger's actually had a very good race as well. He's pretty consistent. And there's Laser Runner. He's in a pretty good battle with himself as well. Of course, Laser Runner, part of the Ray Hall Letterman team, which has two cars here on the grid. It's Dylan 42-43. But unfortunately for Dylan, he's a little bit further down the grid. Moving back of Cone Dodger. We're on lap 17 of 200. And you can see there Dale coming out of turn number 4. He always goes down to the left side of the track and then goes back to the right. And that, I believe that's him just trying to break slipstream a little bit. Ooh, the Penske boy is getting a little close out in turn number 2.
What I've noticed is sometimes coming out of turn 4, if you let it go down to the pit wall, you actually can gain a little time as well. So he's using that to his advantage to stay in front of Cone Dodger.
For everybody joining us, thank you. We have a pretty nice live showing here. And look at this. Here's a battle for the lead here as there is Dale the Whale having to defend on the inside line. And he defends that challenge well, though, from Cone Dodger. But Cone Dodger was alongside him for a moment, and you could see it happening. And He, unfortunately, though, he stays behind him. And again, you want to be doing that. You don't want to be battling like it's the last lap every lap. You just want to get into a groove. If you find an opportunity, of course, do in fact take it. But drivers were told in the drivers' meeting, just keep it cool, and things will happen to you. Things will come your way. But the last thing you want to be doing is making over-ambitious overtakes for all of the show of everything. And end up coming out of this race in a huge accident, and then, in fact, then you end up being out of the race.
Yeah, they're seeming to take it, doing a good job now of just taking it a little easy, not really pushing too hard, because this race is so long. You can mess up all your chances of victory if you push just a little too hard early on in the race.
Here we go, another bit of an inside challenge for the lead of the race, and Dale the Whale is going to basically let that happen. And, he almost loses second to Snipper Pig, but now Cone Dodger takes the lead of the Indianapolis 500 here. So good battling going on from the top four, though, all relatively staying close to each other. And Sinister Owl right there, he is sitting in 5th position ahead of Laser Runner and Warrior. There's somebody into the wall there. There's definitely front wing damage on that car. If we can see who that was that went into the wall there. That's James Suds. And James has had problems all race long. He seems to be okay, so we will stay under green. He's able to control his car okay. But that is front wing damage, and he is going to have to go into the pits. He went to the escape road, so we're still under green.
On him, though. Being out of everyone's way.
That's something that drivers can do a lot in pretty much any kind of series. Panic too much. And here comes Dale the Whale. He is around the outside, and a little bit of an inside line for Snipper Pig. Was looking for an opportunity there. Unfortunately, did not come his way. And you can see there the neon green car of Intersport. He was looking a little bit too. Dale the Whale, though, in second position here, having a little bit of a squabble with Cone Dodger, who's currently in the lead of your Indianapolis 500 here on lap number 23. So a nice little squabble, a good battle for the lead here. All the drivers staying relatively close to each other. And look at this, the pack of four behind the top three here, also having a bit of a squabble here. And you can see Sinister was looking on the inside line coming into turn number one, of course, though he ultimately tries to stay behind it. And you can actually see Intersport has lost a little bit of time to this top three, and now is getting more eaten up into the pack of four behind him. Now has become a pack of four. Intersport joining that pack. And James Suds into the pits. He comes out of the pit lane, and there's a change of position here. Dale the Whale is taking the lead here on the inside, going on the inside of Cone Dodger, and he has taken the lead of this Indianapolis 500 away from Cone Dodger. And you're going to see that a lot, though. A lot of drivers, they're just going to be swapping positions. They're not going to battle too hard in this race. They don't want to be causing any unnecessary actions. Of course, on the last 20 laps or so, it is going to get a little dicey between drivers, but Jonathan, a very nice few laps here in this race. Drivers keeping it clean, and we've been able to move along a little bit more in this race.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see it. I'm especially happy that I'm able to stay a little longer in the commentary booth with these nice single file lines and nice clean passes.
And you can see maybe a little bit of a challenge from Cone Dodger. He has his front wing on the inside in there and looks on the inside. Ultimately, though, Dale the Whale keeps the position. We are on lap 26. James Suds has disconnected. So James Suds is out of this Indianapolis 500. He had that crash, and we are down now to just 14 runners. Unfortunate for James Suds. He's had a bit of a difficult race. Of course, he did start last here on row number 6. And it has not been smooth sailing for him whatsoever, Jonathan.
No, it has not. There's a few drivers that have really gotten the short end of the stick on this race, and James Suds was definitely one of those.
Quite impressive from all these top guys, though. Such a single file line. And really, everybody's in the battle for the lead here. And Mr. Damage into the pits. I don't know if he has damage or not.
It looks like he's missing a rear wing.
So something has happened for him. Mr. Damage as well himself. We were talking about this a little bit. I was talking about this with Pecan. A little bit of a little tiny rivalry with him and Mr. Damage. He would have loved to have beaten Mr. Damage in this race, but Pecan unable to. And look at this. Is that one of the lapped cars I think they're trying to get out of the way of? I think that's Drive the Guard, and he has moved out of the way there. He was in the middle of the pack for a little bit there, though. But everything seems to have been okay. But unfortunate, Pecan not able to make that challenge. But, you know, Mr. Damage, he's not having a great race for himself, to be fair, either. But that is something I think he would like to hold over him. I got to the end of this Indianapolis 500.
Little spread out. That's what can happen with lapped cars. You're not careful.
You actually have seen now Dale the Whale picking up a more of a decent lead in this race. Cone Dodger's been breathing down his neck, and Dale the Whale's been breathing down Cone Dodger's neck. They're starting to catch up a little bit more, get back up into speedy conditions here. But nice, clean laps, as we are now on lap 30 of 200 in this Indianapolis 500. Things are moving along quickly here, and the drivers are staying relatively nice and easy. Qualifying, Jonathan, really exciting, actually. Dale the Whale putting in a better time than he did on his time to get him into the Fast 9, so that was really awesome to see. Qualifying speeds are upwards of up to 247 miles an hour, we saw. But a little bit of interesting statistics here. Not all the cars were as fast as they once were in the past. In 1962, Pernelli Jones, he became the first driver the top 150 miles per hour, and nobody thought you were going to go faster than that. In 1977, Tom Sneva had a registered time of 200.535 miles per hour, and Sneva, funnily enough, in 1984, he was the first driver to top 210 miles per hour, so the cars have definitely gone quicker there, though, but Tom Sneva, he holds the record for hitting the first 200 and 210 miles per hour. Now we've jumped a few 10 miles per hour more in this race, and as these cars go even faster on the grid.
Yeah, when we were in qualifying, we're seeing speeds close to 250 miles an hour. Just incredible speed these cars are capable of.
Just to put that in consideration, people, car makers all around the world, they make a sports car. They are talking about how we've just made a sports car. It's almost 250 miles an hour. And these Indianapolis cars here around the oval Indy cars at Indianapolis, they're doing that pretty easily through many of the turns in this race, so not too difficult for them whatsoever to get near that kind of speed. And Hefe going into the pits now. But, oh, that's a bit of a lockup of brakes right there for somebody. There's Drive the Guard, and you can see now the leaders are coming up to Drive the Guard, so blue flags will be getting waved momentarily for him, and he'll have to get out of the way of the leaders. And here, look at this. Is that I believe Dale the Whale into the pits. A few drivers are taking their pit stops, and Dale the Whale is going to be that first part of the leader pack to take it. So Cone Dodger has taken the lead of this Indianapolis 500. Snipper Pig, his Penske teammate behind him. I believe Intersport, part of the Chip Ganassi cars. Sorry, no, Intersport's also in the Penske cars. So the Penske drivers are doing very well here. 3 of them in the top 3.
Sorry about that. And all of the leaders into the pit lane.
So we are seeing a lot of positions here. And oh, look at this. This is interesting. Snipper Pig is going side by side of one of his teammates here down the pit road. And they go into a different pit lane, though. It's a little different. I know some people may be watching. Maybe they've watched a Formula 1 race a few times, and you see a teammate go into the pit lane, and it's a bit of a double stack. That's not going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen. So no pit lane blunders in that scenario. But you can see coming out of the pits, there is Dale the Whale, and he comes out in 5th position. There are your leaders. They're still in the pit lane, and I believe they will, in fact, still come out ahead. We'll have to wait and see here. It's going to get dicey. Let's see if that, in fact, does happen. Dale the Whale getting challenged.
I believe they might get... He might be in a net P1.
We'll have to wait and see. Dale the Whale, though, having a challenge from Dylan, trying to get ahead of him here out of this pit lane scenario here as they come into turn number 1. And I believe... No, I don't think Dale's... No, Dale is not taking back this lead. Snipper Pig's in the lead of this race on lap number 35.
The rookie in the lead.
Intersport has been passed from Dylan and Dale the Whale, but Snipper Pig is taking the lead of this Indy 500, and now you can see a little bit of swapping of positions for the Penske drivers here, as on the inside is Cone Dodger, and he takes the lead here. And now that you see 2 Penske boys in the lead, I think this is where the passing is going to start to come into consideration. Guys are going to be swapping positions as so not to lose too much fuel and be able to extend their races. There's Laser Runner, who's going for an inside move, and on Warrior.
Lightning, blue flag.
Lightning doing good to get out of the way of those other cars. He's sitting down all the way in 13th. Driven is last on the grid. Jonathan, are you surprised by this many laps of green flag racing?
Yes, and it's a quite pleasant surprise.
Getting a little dicey trying to overtake one of the lap cars there, and they're coming up on another lap car. I believe that is... I'm not sure if that's Driven again, that they're coming up to lap again, but... On the inside, this gets a little dicey here, ladies and gentlemen, when you're running side by side there. Oh, there's a crash into the wall. Somebody has spun around, and that's Aries Speed, and that's going to be a caution. And we were just talking about how nice it's been to get around here clean. And that was a major accident. Aries Speed, no front wing on that car. He looks to be okay in terms of wheels, so he might be able to continue. There was another car involved in that accident. Try to see who that was. But we are back under yellow flag conditions here. We went for a little while on green flag, but back into yellow flag conditions in this Indianapolis 500. And that's Hefe. Hefe has no front wing on that car. Was that the other car involved with Aries? I'm not too sure. I believe it was. But Aries Speed as well. He has no front wing, and he's going to be going in the pits. Mr. Damage, again with another pit stop. I don't know if maybe he was the other car involved in that incident, but nonetheless, we are back under yellow conditions here, lap number 37 of this Indianapolis 500. Again, it's nice to think, oh, maybe we'll be okay maybe we won't have too many yellow flag conditions, but that is just part of oval racing. You're bound to get some yellows going on. And Cone Dodger, though, is your leader in this Indianapolis 500, nonetheless. Snipper Pig, the rookie here at the Indianapolis 500, he was leading it for a little bit of a moment there. In real life, there are 3 drivers with the most victories, is 4 in the Indianapolis 500. Of course, AJ Foyt, Al Unser, and Rick Mears all have 4 races. Few drivers, Wilbur Shaw, Maury Rose, and Bill Vukovic, Al Unser, and Helio Castroneves, all with the most consecutive victories. That's 2. Al Unser, longest span between first and last victory, 17 years, 1970 and 87. He had won the Indianapolis 500. We are currently under yellow. We are on lap number 40. 10 laps away from 1/4 of the way through this long Indianapolis 500. 500 miles around the Brickyard here at Indianapolis. And we have 14 runners left in this race. And many drivers in the pits. We have Warrior in the pits, Intersport in the pits, Aries in the pits, and Hefe is in the pits. Some of these drivers, unfortunately, they're doing some repaired work on their cars, not so much just pitting for tires and fuel. The cars are very close together here, and hopefully they get close in terms of margin to victory. The closest margin to victory ever in 1992, Al Unser Jr. over Scott Goodyear, 0.043 of a second, the gap between first and second. And I don't think we'll be getting into this, but in 1913, Jules Gush over Spencer Wishart, 13 minutes and 8 seconds, the gap in the 1913 Indianapolis 500 for the victory. That's some Le Mans style minutes of being in the lead. So I don't think we're going to be seeing that huge of a gap, though, for the win of the race. Or else we'd be here a very long time waiting for the race to end. But the cars are all very close together, and we are under caution here at Indianapolis, just waiting for green flag conditions to begin once again. Hopefully, we get more than 7 cars at the finish line. Fewest cars ever running was, in fact, 7 in 1966.
Green.
Green conditions here at Indianapolis. We are back under racing conditions here, and Cone Dodger is your leader here at the Indianapolis 500. Lap 42 about to begin, and already seeing some sort of squabbles positions here. We are riding on board there with Sinister Owl 43, and somebody was going on the inside in the turn number 1, and it looks to be Dale the Whale who was making a move. And oh my goodness, a huge crash, and that is going to be a caution
Yellow.
immediately on lap number 41. We couldn't even make it through one turn. Who was that who just landed? Somebody was upside down. I'm assuming it's lightning. He has no front wing on that.
Oh, it's windy.
But a massive crash, car in the air. He landed on his roof. Thankfully, he came back onto his roof, and we still have a runner here in this Indianapolis 500. But big crash, and we're back under racing. We're back under yellow conditions here at Indianapolis. Well, that's how it happened the last time. We had a yellow, green, and then yellow again on the first lap through. Hopefully now we can survive. Maybe again. But we are beginning now lap 43 under yellow conditions here. Big crash. Lightning is back into the pit lane. And the race of attrition continues on. Most of the drivers keeping it relatively nice and clean, not making too many mistakes. But a few drivers getting a little antsy on their restarts, and they are having unnecessary accidents. Dale the Whale back up to third in this race, and he's getting a little close to the back of Snipper, and he drops back a little bit again, but he was almost side by side of him on that yellow there. Drivers have been instructed to stay within at least half a second from the car back to you, but not to be tailgating anybody, not necessary under yellow, so drivers will be warned if they do in fact do so. But drivers have been relatively well behaved in this race, not too many infractions and rule breaking whatsoever, so drivers are relatively staying A-okay. So that is good to see. No drive-throughs, no nothing. That's something we don't want to see. We don't want to see drive-throughs. We don't want to see sort of an artificial loss of the lead. If you crash, that's one thing, but we don't want to be seeing too many drivers breaking any rules here. And I believe we're back under green conditions here. Jonathan?
Green.
I guess we are under green conditions here, but the car's kind of gone away anyway. Jonathan, was there a miscommunication there, or were there two greens?
We are green racing.
Right, but was there a green call before that didn't get on broadcast?
No, there was not.
Okay,
There
so...
was miscommunication.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, Cone Dodger, though, still in the lead.
We
We're
are
back.
green racing.
We are under green racing, and Cone Dodger is in the lead. Jonathan, what's your reaction now as we're about to get into the first fourth of the race over and done with in this Indianapolis 500, and there's a bit of a battle going on between the Penske boys now, though they don't want to be battling too early on in this Grand Prix. This race, I'm too used to my Formula One. Oh, this big spectacle racing.
I think it's been pretty good so far. There has been a few hiccups, but when we do go green racing, it is very clean, which is nice to see. And I just hope we can keep it up.
Now, there is a pretty big gap between third and fourth, and that's Laser Runner in fourth. Not a great restart for him. He is sitting way behind the top three here in this race.
Yeah, I think that miscommunication definitely caught him out more than the others, which is not ideal for his race.
Now, the Penske boys haven't been swapping positions too much. I don't know if they're going to be doing that same style of swapping the lead in order to save fuel, but I presume they'd want to try to put that into practice.
Yeah, it would be, in my opinion, their best strategy. These cars chug fuel, for lack of a better term, on this track.
And the last
not
thing...
surprisingly, 250 miles an hour is not exactly good for fuel efficiency.
Your miles per gallon might not be fantastic. But the last thing we want anything is drivers to be running out of fuel either in the middle of this race or even near the end of the race, which we've seen a few too many times. Drivers not able to keep their cars running enough.
Yeah, we definitely want to avoid that.
Thankfully, not too many mechanical failures for the cars. Ralph De Palma in 1912, the second Indianapolis 500, was dominating the whole race and leading from lap 3 to lap 196. He had a lead of 5.5 laps, and his engine blew up. Joe Dawson ended up with taking the lead and won the race by 2 laps over from the second-place finisher, but hopefully the drivers, I don't believe random damage is on, and drivers will be okay. It is not on, so drivers will not have to deal with their engines blowing up in this race and causing their entire downfall within a lap. But the cars back then were...
I've experienced that a few too many times.
I think the cars back then maybe just a little bit less unstable and maybe failed a few more than they would today.
These three just pulling away from the rest of the field.
One thing I would like to note, Chevrolet doing a much better job in qualifying. In fact, pretty much all the front runners were Chevrolet-powered cars. Not on Honda cars in the field running high in this race. So, seeing a definite favorability for engine manufacturer as well. But something is interesting in the real life of IndyCar. Ferrari has looked into joining Indianapolis. They have launched a project to see if they will in fact join. This, of course, comes in reaction to budget cuts in Formula 1. There's a huge budget for Ferrari, almost 400. Oh, that's a spin. Somebody spun out on the grass. I believe we will be going under caution.
Caution.
Caution's out. Yellow flag. And we're back under yellow conditions here. Gives me good time to actually talk about what I was talking about. But Ferrari's running Formula 1 budget almost $400 million. And there were talks from Ferrari that they'd have to lay off some of their team if in fact they did go into that. So Ferrari looking to join another sport. There is good talks that they might be joining the Indianapolis grid. And are we still on? Did we go green immediately? Drivers are still racing full speed. Jonathan, can we get an update on that, or are we going back under yellow?
It was supposed to be at yellow. I'm having connection issues to Discord. They cannot hear me, which is an issue.
So we were supposed to be going under yellow, but unfortunately we're not able to connect with the Discord chat, so that is a bit of a problem.
There was a yellow.
And cars will slow back now up.
Sorry for that being a little...
But nonetheless, though, going back onto my previous statement, the intrigue to have another manufacturer here in IndyCar, to have not only that, but to have a European manufacturer in Ferrari, the interest that would bring both to IndyCar from European fans, and really would be very interesting to see the rivalry that would build up between American and European engine manufacturers. I think that would really bring a dynamic to IndyCar racing that we just don't have today. So I hope that they join. There's a good shot of it. Of course, the current owner of IndyCar is Roger Penske. The title sponsor for Scuderia Ferrari and Formula 1 is Philip Morris International. Roger Penske has very big connections to Philip Morris International, was originally on the board. He does still have a representative that is part of the Penske Auto Group, that's on the Phil Morris board. So there is a good possibility that they could, in fact, join here in IndyCar, just based on the title sponsorship. Phil Morris International provides $160 million a year in sponsorship money to the Italian outfit in Formula One, and with American tobacco advertising on cars seeming to have eased up a little bit, it could be possible that we could see, in fact, they jump over to IndyCar and that title sponsorship be able to be used a little bit more often in racing, as they do have to take off the Mission Winnow sponsor, which is that Phil Morris sponsor. They have to take it off for most of the Formula One races. They might be able to get away with it a little bit more in America. So there's good shot for Ferrari joining IndyCar. Of course, they're still looking possibly into the World Endurance Championship as well. But I think IndyCar is their best possibility here. But let's get back to the racing on track. And it's not a lot of racing going on, in fact, as we are under yellow. We're on lap number 54. So we are a full 1/4 of the way through the race. And now we see a bunch of cars going in the pit lane. Pit lane is going to get busy here, ladies and gentlemen, as there is all of the Penske boys going in for another pit stop. Look at that. Well over half the field goes into the pits. Now, you would say, oh, well, this is going to help these guys. They're going to get into the lead here. Well, no, because they're a few laps back, so unfortunately they are not going to be taking the lead of this race. Though, there is somebody who is getting near the back to the lead, which is Dale the Whale. He is now back into second. He's behind Cone Dodger in this race. Dale the Whale unfortunately got jumped in the pit stops in the previous run of pit stops from the leaders, and he lost that lead, and Mr. Damage actually into the pits now. So, though he did gain a bit of a lap, he's just going to lose it again, which is a little interesting. So unfortunately he's gained essentially nothing from this. And now coming out of the pit lane, a bunch of cars coming out of the pits now. Jonathan, if you're available, just getting your reaction, though, how much do you think it would mean for IndyCar as a sport to get a third manufacturer into the sport for engines, somebody like a Ferrari or even another European outfit?
I think it would mean a lot, especially for the popularity outside of America, for a European outfit to come in. It would definitely show that this is more than just an American sport.
One of the big things, though, if we think about it, though, would Ferrari run their own team, or would they just be doing the engine side? That is the biggest question, though, for Ferrari. Would they run as a team, or do they just want to run as an engine manufacturer?
I could see them maybe doing a team, but I would be very surprised if they did not come in as a engine manufacturer.
That I definitely think they're going to do, because they have to use at least $200 million, and an engine manufacturer for an IndyCar, that's going to cost about $100 million. So, definitely going to see them going as an engine manufacturer. The big thing is for teams, because if we know McLaren came from Formula One into IndyCar, but they didn't come as their own outfit. They joined up with the Aero Schmidt team. So there is a good possibility, though, maybe Ferrari does that as well. Maybe they join up. They could even join up with Penske, possibility, but I think Ferrari usually, they like to go in on their own. They don't really like to join up with people. So while there is a possibility they could join up with the Penske outfit, I have a good feeling Ferrari wants to go in as Ferrari. They don't want to go in as Penske Ferrari. 14 runners here in this UDL Indianapolis 500. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We have 25 of you in the viewership. That might be some of the drivers and just a few other people also joining in on the action. Again, if you are not subscribed, make sure to subscribe to the United Drivers League YouTube channel and make sure to watch the Formula 1 and World Endurance Championship leagues that take place here. UDL is filled with a great family of drivers, not only fast, but also are well together and friends of each other, and just want to have a good time. Here, back on green flag conditions here, the driver's going to get back into their racing conditions. Hopefully everything stays well okay coming into the next lap here as we move to lap number 57. And already a battle for the lead there looked like from Dale the Whale. As, yes, Dale the Whale has taken back the lead of the Indianapolis 500. He had it in the beginning, and he has taken it back again.
Get that. Off. Hopefully we can get a lot of green flag racing here.
Maybe we definitely don't want to be taking too many yellows here. That, again, just lengthens the race a little bit. It's nice to see an Indy 500, a nice, long, good Indy 500, but we don't want to see something too long. It's one thing to have a 24 hours of Le Mans. That's one kind of thing, but anything else that moves past the 3 or 4 hours, you start to get into a little bit of a dizzy zone.
Definitely.
Of course, I remember being an F1 fan, seeing the Canadian Grand Prix from 2011, a full 5 hours. And that just, it's cool to see the first few safety cars. After that, you're like, oh, come on, boys, let's go. What's going on? It's a league race, is what you're watching. But I actually have to commend the drivers here. We've had a few incidents, but overall, the drivers have been very well behaved, and they've been doing well to keep it on the road. And you see a battle right there with Dylan, and looked to be actually, maybe that's one of the cars getting lapped. Sorry.
Nope. He has made a pass.
I can't see what the pass is going on. The cars aren't moving on my screen. So yeah, I am seeing now is that's laser. Maybe Dylan looks like he might have some.
Sinister Owl passed Dylan as well as Intersport also passed Dylan. Seems like Dylan's having some face issues.
In the lead, though, Dale the Whale. Now, Dale the Whale, if we look here on the teams, he is on the Chip Ganassi team. So, does Dale the Whale, does he drop back? Does he try to trade leads with Penske? I know they're not on the same team, but this is really hurting him in terms of fuel management because there is nobody to back him up with the Chip Ganassi squad because there is Penske's behind him for a while. Does he try to trade the lead with one of the Penske boys, or is his best bet just trying to stay in the lead of this race?
It really depends on their fuel strategy as a whole. I know these teams have been very secretive with how their fuel is going to go, which is completely understandable. But we don't really know how they're burning the fuel because with transmission changes, you can definitely change that. So he might be looking to stay ahead because that'll, get him right to the end instead of having extra fuel. We're just not sure.
He doesn't seem to have changed the lead too much except when he has to, not to cause a huge battle so early on in the race. So it looks like he is just going to stay ahead. In fact, he's actually gained a little bit of time on Cone Dodger. So he's
very impressive.
Dale's had a very good race. He has kept it very clean, not too many problems. Anything that he's gone into a battle with, he just slotted it behind, not causing any problems. Having a very nice, well-controlled race, Dale, right now. And, drivers are talking about Dale. This is a good opportunity for him to win this race. And he is showing why maybe he is the favorite.
I'm a little biased, but I do have to say I'm very happy to see Dale in the lead right now because he actually is driving my former Indy 500 car from 2 years ago. So it
there you go.
Kind of
so
happy to see
a little nostalgia feeling from our co-commentator Jonathan, feeling hopefully that maybe Dale can win it. The Penske boys, though, in terms of the war for Chip Ganassi and Penske, well, it's looking pretty good right now for the Penske guys. In fact, the Chip Ganassi boys, except for Dale, pretty disappointing to say the least, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah, Chip Ganassi's looked incredible in the WEC season, being undefeated with their Fords in the UDL, but they don't seem to have the greatest pace here today at the Indy 500.
And unfortunately, Pecan, who was kind of leading that pack, out very quickly from this race. And Warrior is sitting in 10th. We have Drive the Guard in 13th. So Dale the Whale, really the only man leading the charge here. That's Snipper Pig in 3rd. The Penske's...
It's very interesting to see the lineup like this because Snipper Pig and Dale the Whale know each other very well, being Corvette teammates in the WEC, in the UDL. So it's very interesting to see them running against each other in this race.
We are at lap 66 of 200 in this 500-mile race here at Indianapolis. And we've already seen some memorable moments that are going to go into the history book for UDL. An all male driver lineup here. There's not a lot of female racers, unfortunately, in the community. In 1977, it was the first time that a woman tried to compete in the Indianapolis 500, though. Janet Guthrie broke barriers in 1977, and she would qualify for the race and make history. Unfortunately, she finished only in 29th. He had engine troubles, but Janet Guthrie, of course, making a trailblaze for women in motorsport in general, being the first woman to compete in the Indianapolis 500. Of course, we've had many female runners before, and after her, and people like Danica Patrick, who you can talk about all you want, but Danica Patrick was a very solid IndyCar driver in her career, and she drove in the Indianapolis 500 a few times.
Here's hoping UDL doesn't have to wait that long to see our first female competitors.
And you can actually see the Penske boys are starting to get a little squabbly here. Snipper Pig maybe getting a little impatient behind his teammate Cone Dodger. I know that it's actually nice to see, because something you don't tend to see too much in sim racing, especially at the lower levels, is a lot of teammates working together. But it's actually really nice to see here in this Indianapolis 500, the Penske boys and the Chip Ganassi drivers, even when they were doing so and when they were involved, they're actually working together, and they're trying to get a good race result for themselves, of course, but also get a good result for the team.
Yeah, it's great to see.
And I think the Penske guys, they got to be happy, because they got all 4 of their guys within that top runners here. You can't be too unhappy with that, to say the least. Intersport, Snipper Pig, Cone Dodger. I mean, it just doesn't end for them. They're doing pretty well here. Sinister Owl, really the only driver not involved, but he's still 5th actually. So, in fact, I am correct. All the guys besides Dale, the Whale, as there's a lapped car there, and they did in fact get out of the way. It looked a little dodgy there with the pass there, though. That was almost a bit of an incident, but in fact, this has actually helped Dale the Whale. He's gained a little bit of a lead here over some of the other drivers behind him. I think there was a little bit of miscommunication with maybe the lapped car, but it has not helped so well for some of the drivers here. They've caught a little bit back up, but just that little breathing room does help your confidence a little bit in this race.
It's kind of amazing to say that 0.2 of a second is breathing room, but it really is in this.
I mean, if we were talking about 0.2 of a second, this was a Formula One race, I'd be yelling off my top of my hat because we're about to see a pass. But in this one, it's really just
the entire race.
That's what the racing is. You just got to stay behind drivers. I mean, this isn't the last 20 laps, ladies and gentlemen. We're only on lap 70, and we're not even at the halfway point in this race. Drivers, you just got to keep it nice and consistent, and ultimately you got to be patient. You don't want to be making ridiculous moves. You look good on TV, but maybe your race doesn't end up well because you made that ridiculous move, and now you get into an accident. And Dale the Whale, though, definitely putting on a good show right now for himself, keeping the lead of this Indianapolis 500 here at the United Drivers League. He's led almost the entire majority of the races. We've had Cone Dodger, though. He's led a good number of laps as well. And Snipper Pig, for a little bit there, was in fact leading this Indianapolis 500 as a rookie.
Snipper Pig has shown incredible ability here. Being a rookie, winning the Freedom 100, and then fighting for the lead basically the entire race so far for the Indy 500.
Definitely a very good result for him at the moment. It's 2:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here for me and where I'm commentating from. And wherever you are in the rest of the world, thank you for joining us. This is the United Drivers League 2020 Indianapolis 500. And Dale the Whale is your leader currently of this race with Cone Dodger in second. Snipper Pig is in third. Intersport is in fifth. Sinister Owl in fifth. Laser Runner in sixth. Mr. Damage in seventh, followed by Dylan in eighth. And we have the Alien Racer, who is sitting in 9th, Warrior in 10th, Hefe in 11th, Driven in 12th, Aries Speed in 13th, he's currently in the pit lane, and in 14th is Lightning, who was doing a decent race in the beginning, but has since now dropped way to the back of the grid.
Yeah, it's nice to see this going well. This is basically our first big event like this in the UDL, and we have plans to continue this in years going forward as well as bring others. I know there was talks about...
And look at this, there's a battle, the change for the lead here, Cone Dodger, and look at this, the teammate Penske, that's the Penske boys going into the lead. Dale the Whale has lost 3 positions now. He's about to lose 4. Big problems for Dale the Whale. Does he have trouble with his car? He's now down to 5th on the grid. He has lost 4 positions in 1 corner. That was a terrible problem for him. I have no idea what happened. He just lost the momentum, but the Penske boys are now in the lead, and there's 4 of them now in the lead.
He's even seeming to lose a little time on Laser Runner now. I'm not sure what happened.
Whatever the case, Dale the Whale, though, has lost a major amount of positions here in this Indianapolis 500. I mean, it's one thing to lose one of them, but he's lost 4 positions in the span of a single lap, and that has not been good at all. Cone Dodger is now again your leader in this Indianapolis 500. Snipper in second. Intersport is in third. And Sinister Owl in fourth. Dale the Whale all the way down now in fifth with Laser Runner breathing down his neck looking for 5th position of his own.
Incredible.
Not exactly sure what happened, and we have seen now Dale the Whale does look to be speeding back up a little bit. And but he's still getting challenged a little bit. I just think he ran out of the groove of the racing line, and that has really not helped him, and he has lost a major amount of momentum.
It really shows you how much just one little mistake can cost you so much here.
That's, again, that's what I talk about going into this race. It's not about just going around in an oval. It takes such skill and such precision in this motor race in order to keep the lead, continue to keep the lead for laps on end. Drivers have to stay consistent, and they have to stay consistent for a very long time. And I gotta tell you, sometimes the mind does tend to wander, and you can make a mistake very quickly. And with how fast they're going, that's really why mistakes matter so much. If you make one mistake, drivers are going so fast, your speed goes down a little bit, you're going to lose a lot of positions very quickly, and we've seen that happen with Dale Noel now, who a favorite in this race. Now Cone Dodger is up in the mix.
That was an incredible sequence of corners. And I got to give props to the Penske guys. They got by very clean with no incidents.
There is Snipper Pig, second position in this Indianapolis 500. Again, he only led just a few laps of the Indianapolis 500 so far, but might be looking to do that. The Penske boys, though, they've not been swapping positions a lot, so maybe their running a fuel mode doesn't require that kind of thing. Now, we do have a car that's about to be lapped. I believe that is, in fact, Lightning. Can't exactly see who that is. Yeah, it is, in fact, Lightning, who will be getting lapped quite soon as he moves to the right side of the track and lets by the drivers, and nice by him. I don't think he compromised anybody there. In fact, they're all staying relatively where they were. But a little bit of a loss for Dale, actually. Dale has lost a big amount of time to the drivers four ahead of him. But Laser Runner hasn't gained a lot of time on Dale, so keeping okay, and eventually he will hopefully catch back up with those four drivers. But the last thing you want to do is lose the slipstream.
I'd just like to point out the consistency of laps between Cone Dodger and Snipper is incredible. The past 2 laps, I have seen both Cone and Snipper go 0.000 onto their first sector. It's incredible consistency.
Cone Dodger, a little bit more of a veteran than Snipper Pig in the Indianapolis 500, and hopefully he can try to keep up this for a win here. The rookie behind him, Snipper Pig, it's feeling a little 2006s. That's when Marco Andretti was trying to live up to the family name. Of course, Andretti's such a huge name here at Indianapolis. Like we said before, though, as Hefe is giving way to cars, Andretti not on the grid today. That the Andretti Autosports cars beaten out of qualifying. In fact, all of them, in fact, did get bumped out of qualifying. Marco Andretti made his debut trying to live up to that name. 19 years old at the time. His father, Michael, passed him for the lead. It was Hornish, Sam Hornish Jr., protecting his son's lead, and he ultimately did win the race in 2006. He beat the rookie, though, Marco Andretti. Can Cone Dodger win this race and defend it off from the rookie Snipper Pig? Could be interesting. There's another lapped car coming up now. I do believe that is driven. As they're just coming up to him now, he moves to the left side of the track and lets by all those cars. Seem to be no problems trying to lap him, and that is A-okay. A big amount of laps that we've been able to go through without a yellow, so very nice to see. There is Mr. Damage. He is... Lightning going in the pits, actually. I just noticed we have 13 runners. I didn't notice somebody retired.
Not either.
Trying to pinpoint who that might have been. Dale into the pits. Dale the Whale is taking another pit stop.
Definitely an interesting strategy call from Dale.
That puts, again, there's all four Penske boys in the lead. And we also have Laser Runner from Ray Hall Letterman, and he is the highest up driver there as well. That's the only other team with multiple drivers except for Chip and Penske Racing. Every other team, AJ Floyd, Dale Coyne Racing, they only have one driver on the grid. And oh, that was a collision with some styrofoam. And I don't know if that caused damage for...
Definitely not what you want to do coming into the pit lane.
I hope that doesn't cause any damage for anybody. So the next round of pit stops, ladies and gentlemen, we are on currently lap 87 of 200. We're almost near the halfway point in this Indianapolis 500. And it has been a very good race so far, and a lot of clean green flag laps. Not too many yellows, the ones we have had. Big accidents, but generally, cars have been staying nice and well behaved. The current leader, Snipper Pig, is leading again in this Indianapolis 500.
Very impressive from Snipper.
He is leading Intersport, Cone Dodgers in third, Dale the Whale is in fourth, and Sinister in fifth. There's your top five currently in this Indianapolis 500, but Snipper Pig is your current leader. And he can definitely go a few laps with the lead. This is live coverage of... Oops, sorry.
Sizable league as well.
Yeah, very sizable lead, actually, ahead of... This is the biggest lead we've seen for a while. This is about a second... a full second, actually, ahead of Intersport. So this helps him a lot. Nice to have some nice, clean air. Helps his tires a lot, for sure. This is live coverage of the 2020 UDL Indianapolis 500. I am your this is your play-by-play commentator, IGKX, my co-commentator, Jonathan, also the race director for this race today. Thank you for joining us, and we are having a great time here at Indianapolis for this 500-mile race at the Brickyard. 200 laps. We're currently at 88 at the moment. Your leader in this Indianapolis 500 is the rookie on the grid, Snipper Pig 007. With Intersport behind him, Dale the Whale is in third. He was in the lead for a majority of this Indianapolis 500. Had a problem, though, a few laps ago. And I do apologize if there's any noise at the background. We have some noisy motorcycle runners outside of my house. So hopefully you don't have to hear too much of that. But... nonetheless, Snipper Pig running a good race. He's lost, though, a lot of that lead, though. That is back down to a 0.2 of a second. Is he losing? Does he have a problem, or has he just?
I think he might have been caught because he didn't have any draft. We haven't really seen him without a tow very often, so.
He does have some draft now. That is Hefe ahead of him, I believe, who he is now past. Airy Speed sitting in 12th. The Alien Racer in the pit lane. Snipper Pig in the lead of this Indianapolis 500. Definitely a little bit more pressure for him, though. He seems, though he has gained a little bit of time there. He seems to be a little bit more, I don't want to say squirmy, but drivers are getting a little closer to him than some of the other drivers who have taken the lead, Cone Dodger and Dale. Though you can't blame him too much to have the lead.
Might be just not used to being in the lead. Big race.
He's now falling behind. I believe that is Dylan, who lets everybody by.
But as I was saying earlier, before Dale was passed, so it's really good to see this working out so well, because we did have plans for in January to do the Daytona 24, probably reduce it down to 4 hours, and then as well as Le Mans next year. And of course continuing on with the Indy 500 on a yearly basis. So these long races seem to be working out really well.
Are we even able to do a 24-hour race in Project Cars 2? Well, I don't know what the maximum amount of hours you can have in a race is. Jonathan? I assume he's doing some race director work. I believe there is a car needing to get passed.
Yes. So we will probably reduce the 24-hour races down to 4 hours, just to allow them to be drivable, because there is of course no driver swaps. We can do 24 hours, but it is
unhealthy to say the least for some drivers.
Yes. So 4 hours is a great compromise, because it is one driver stint at Le Mans. So that's kind of our plan going forward with that.
The max I've done a 6-hour race at the Nürburgring on GT Sport. That was of course, just one, so not too much longer. But yeah, 6 hours is usually a standard endurance race, but 4 hours is a standard Le Mans driver procedure.
Yeah, I have done a 24-hour Le Mans and a 24-hour of Nürburgring. The Nürburgring race in GT6 it was GT5 at that point, and it was very brutal because we did Group C's and GT cars, and I was running a Nissan R92 CP with full boost and for 24 hours straight around the Nordschleife.
So they just really wanted to torture you.
Yes, it was brutal.
I would have just said no. It's like, listen, if you want to do this on iRacing, that's something else, but where I can actually swap drivers, I ain't doing that.
We never finished the 24 hours. I was the last one to be awake. So
oh.
I did win.
You did win. That's great. But
yes,
only through sleep deprivation.
Yes. Sometimes it's a race of attrition.
Just like it is here. Though
yes,
not nearly as many hours. But Snipper Pig has
arguably more concentration, though.
I would think so, yeah. But Snipper Pig, definitely with the concentration and definitely with the attrition, because he is in the lead of this Indianapolis 500 as we come to lap 97. We're coming towards 98 in just a few turns. And can you believe that we have a leader here, a rookie for this Indy 500, lap 97 on to 98?
If any rookie was going to be in the lead of this race, I'm not surprised it is Snipper Pig. He seems to be at least proficient at everything he attempts. He's a former UDL F1 champion, currently defending that, as well as a current UDL WEC driver in the Corvette, along with Dale the Whale. So I'm really not surprised he has the pace, but I am surprised to see him in the lead.
There are a few drivers who are... There are a few drivers in UDL who have actually talked about Snipper Pig maybe being your winner here. And one of them was the Cuddly Koala, UDL WEC GTE driver. He thinks it's Pig. You need an underdog story. He had the game for a short time. He's exceeding expectations. Also, Schweitzer from UDL F1, he believes it's going to be Dale. He thinks strategy. And in fact, Snipper Pig has in fact taken the lead due to his strategy. He pitted, and he is in fact ahead of these drivers, and that is purely on pit stop strategy. So...
yeah. And Snipper Pig is officially your leader at the halfway mark of this race.
But Snipper Pig definitely an underdog here, as we are on lap 100
Yellow.
of 200. Yellow flags. Who was that? Drive the guard with issues, Dylan. Jonathan, if you can, update us when you can. Do you have confirmation of who, in fact, had that issue?
It was Drive the Guard.
So we move to the middle of the race, lap 100 of 200, now 101. And that is our next yellow flag, our next caution. Mr. Damage sitting in 7th on the grid. He was asked about his personal goals heading into this race. Because, of course, I want to win. I've already won the Tier 1 Monaco Grand Prix in 2013. And he would love to fill part of his Triple Crown. The Le Mans win later this year. It would be awesome to achieve that feat this year. He is sitting down. Oh, Laser Runner's disconnected. A few drivers disconnected. We're down to 11?
Not good to see that.
There was another driver that just disconnected as well. I'm not too sure who it was. I'm not seeing Hefe on the grid anymore. If I can go over my lineup here, if my cursor wants to start working, I can tell you exactly what was... Yeah, there's a bunch of drivers into the pits. So Hefe is out of the race. Laser is out of the race. It's Warrior. Warrior's not in this race. So that's surprising. Warrior was one of the big guys in this race. We really thought he was going to do very well. Warrior is not in this race anymore. Coming out of the pit lane is Dale the Whale in the lead. Snipper Pig moves to 6th on the grid. That's a big loss for him. That's a really big loss in the pit lane. Oh, man, that's not great at all for Snipper Pig. He's lost a lot of positions. Now 5th. Are you surprised to see that, Jonathan? To see him move so much in the pit lane? Still under...
Yes, I'm very surprised.
That's a lot of positions to lose. Dale the Whale, though, finding himself back in the lead of your Indianapolis 500, and Cone Dodger in 2nd, Intersport in 3rd. Intersport's been running a very good race, and I'm not going to claim any winners here, but Intersport definitely running a very nice race, and did we hear, was there a green flag called, or?
All right, So, I have been relieved of duties as race director. Pecan is taking over. So I will be in the commentary booth for this next 98 laps.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there you go. We won't be able to, unfortunately, won't be able to hear when the cautions do come out. So we just kind of have to watch the track and the speeds.
I actually will be still in the Discord, so I can hear cautions, but we will still keep up to date on that.
So I guess just mute your mic in Discord, and if you hear it, you can just call it out.
Yep. To be at the commentary booth and focus on that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we got two guys here in the commentary booth able to give you as much action as possible. I am IGKX. I'm joined by Jonathan in the commentary booth, and we are your commentators here for this Indianapolis 500. And thank you for joining us. We are still under caution here. It's lap 103 of 200. We are halfway through this Indianapolis 500. Does the emotions get a little bit higher, and do drivers start to take risks a little bit, or is it still a little bit too early for people to be taking too much risk?
I feel like emotions start to get a little higher, but I think... Okay, we are going green here soon. And we are green.
And green conditions here at the Indianapolis 500. Dale the Whale, your leader here in lap number 103, coming on the 4. And look at this, a little bit of a squabble in the back there, as that is Sinister Owl side by side with one of... Who is that as he slots ahead of him? On the inside is Snipper Pig, and that is on... looks to be... Dale the Whale, though, he's sitting in the lead of the race. I'm not too sure that was a little bit of a lag there by one of the Ed Carpenter cars. Cone Dodger in second, though. Intersport in third. Fourth for there's Sinister Owl in fifth.
But, yeah, as I was saying before we went green, I do
is
feel
there a
like
problem? Is there a problem for that Ed Carpenter car right there? That was...
it is blue flagged.
Okay.
Currently.
He's trying to get out of the way. He is really kind of... I don't know if he's holding up cars, but it was a little difficult for him to get out of the way a few of those instances, but nonetheless, sir, you can continue on now.
Yep. No problem. But, yeah, so I do feel like your nerves start to kick in a little bit around lap 100. But you can normally keep them in check until about the 150 mark. Once you get to the 150 mark, then you start getting a little impatient. And by about 180 with 20 to go, that's when you're really looking to be pushing those moves that you may not really want to do early on in the race, but you really want to get that lead, so...
Lap 106, and it's Dale the Whale who leads it away. Cone Dodger in second, Intersport in third. And it is Sinister in fourth. Fifth for Snipper Pig. Snipper Pig lost a lot of positions in the last pit stop. I don't think he's too happy about that. I'm quite surprised he lost so much in there, but he will have to make some time up and get back into that top three where he has been sitting in pretty much the whole race. It's been a very, very good race. Let's not kid ourselves here. He's had a very, very good race in the position he's in.
Yes, he's shown great pace the entire race, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to push his way back up into that top three again. First, though, he's going to have a fight getting by his F1 teammate of Sinister Owl.
It's been a nose-to-tail race. Single file line, doing very, very well. This has been one of the better Indianapolis 500s I've been able to watch, even if it is a virtual one. 1960 in Indianapolis held a very fantastic race. In the 1960 Indianapolis 500, Roger Ward and Jim Rathman in the second half swapped the lead 14 times, nose to tail, neck and neck until lap 197. Ward had tire issues, giving the lead to Rothman. He would go on to win. It didn't feature a last lap or photo finish. It was just a race that featured a great battle on track. But we are getting the same kind of follow the leader action, doing very well, keeping close to one another, and it's really nice to see.
Yeah, as an F1 commentator, it's not as common to see this type of racing, and it's good to watch every once in a while.
It's good once in a while not to have a leader 20 seconds ahead of everybody else and really murdering the rest of the pack. It's nice to see some nice close racing.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the UDL F1 League does have some very close racing, but nothing like 1/10 of a second separating a car between another for a lap on end.
In the hundreds of Indianapolis 500s, there's been just 9 ever to be a rookie to win. Snipper Pig was leading at the moment. Only 9 drivers ever as rookies have won this Indianapolis 500, and in the hundreds of times we've had it before, which is insane to think about. But Snipper Pig would love to be that driver to add his name to the list, even if it isn't an official Indianapolis 500. It still would be a great achievement, though he's only sitting now in 5th after having a blunder in the pit stops. Whatever happened, he would make...
Well, and not to mention, he isn't the only rookie up in this pack. Sinister Owl is also an Indy 500 rookie.
He is sitting in 4th. He's been a little bit more of a sleeper driver here. Hasn't led any laps, but he has been staying within the pack there. But maybe Sinister, maybe he can sneak up in there, maybe win. Again, all these drivers that are in this top 5 pack, they are all in contention to win, as Dale Lewis gets a little bit of a better gap, about 0.3 of a second. All these drivers in the top 5, they are all in contention here. The last 20 or so laps, they're going to be carnage. Drivers are going to be trying everything they can. We're going to maybe see some yellow flags come out, in fact. But trust me, all these drivers in this top 5, they are all within win contention. Anything can happen in a moment's notice and cause a big pile-up and a big crash. Maybe some driver loses a bunch of positions, but all these drivers here are much well within winning conditions.
I'm amazed how close these 5 drivers have been the entire race. They really haven't given any driver leeway as far as time to themselves.
There's their top 5. It's pretty much been that top 5 all race long. Dale the Whale is leading this Indianapolis 500 ahead of Cone Dodger in 2nd, Intersport in 3rd. Sinister Owl and Snipper Pig, 2 rookies in this Indianapolis 500, sitting 4th and 5th. And Alien Racer now is coming up towards getting lapped again. He's in that Ed Carpenter car.
Sorry, we had a comment in the chat asking if Alien was still driving, so I just wanted to show.
Hopefully not too many accidents on the final lap, though we have seen some last lap carnage in the 1989 Indianapolis 500. Emerson Fittipaldi and Al Unser Jr., a huge battle on the final lap. It was Unser, though, into the wall, making contact with Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi was able to drive unscathed and finish across the line ahead of Unser Jr., and hopefully, though, we don't see too many big accidents like that for any drivers. It would be exciting, of course, here in the commentary booth, but gut-wrenching for whoever ended up coming into that kind of contact.
Yeah, like you said, it would be very exciting for us, but not exactly great for the racing itself.
Talking more about some of the women of Indianapolis 500, we did talk about Danica Patrick. She joined, in 2005. This was her rookie appearance. She ended up getting named Rookie of the Year in the 2005 season for IndyCar. Patrick would live up to all of that kind of hype, though. She would end up actually leading the Indianapolis 500. She led 19 laps of it, actually, and was in fact contention in for the win. She unfortunately had to slow her pace in order to reserve fuel, actually finish it. She ended up settling for a 4th place finish, but Danica Patrick, again, I want to talk about her a little bit because NASCAR, obviously, let's just say it wasn't exactly the best career in NASCAR, but as an IndyCar driver, she definitely had a fantastic run there. As look at this, a bit of a battle for the lead there as Cone Dodger and Dallas were side by side down the start-finish line. But Danica Patrick, a very impressive IndyCar driver, and she had a very impressive few times here at Indianapolis. So definitely one of the pioneers for women in motorsport, and definitely for women in the Indianapolis 500.
I just didn't notice something. Mr. Damage isn't exactly out of this race at this point. He's very close.
He is sitting in 6th, and he's not lapped. That's the big key here. He's not a lapped car, though he is getting ahead of a lapped car, and I believe that is driven. And
I think he's been actually using drive as a way to catch up to the field ahead of him.
So he's been, it's actually a very interesting strategy there. So keeping behind him now, they're not on the same team. Damage is on his own team, as there's the only ever team with any kind of cars there is, he might be getting picked up now. Look at this. This is going to get dicey here, and Lightning gets out of the way, but that was not a smooth run of affairs for that.
No, a little scary. And Dale moves to 5th.
Dale lost a lot of position. Again, that's another blunder by Dale. He lost again. He just lost it in a corner, and he has lost the lead. And not only that, he's lost 4 positions. So that's the second time we've seen Dale just really lose it and lose a lot of positions because of it. And I don't think that's on purpose, Jonathan. I think that's just a mess up there.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like the timing would really make it on purpose.
79 laps left here at Indianapolis. We're on lap 21 of 200.
And a great race so far, though.
Extremely good race. It doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any single car team victories here at the moment. Of course, like we said, Mr. Damage still kind of in the possibility of winning this, but maybe a bit of a stretch. But
yeah,
all of the drivers ahead of us are in the big teams, Penske and Chip Ganassi. In fact, I think the Chip Ganassi guys, let me see if I can bring that up. So it's really only Dale the Whale, but he has lost a lot of position. But if we see Mr. Damage, it would be a very special story in IndyCar racing. In 2011, Dan Weldon, right place, right time. In 2011, he won the Indianapolis 500, being in that single-car team of Brian Herta Autosport. Really awesome to see if that could possibly happen. Of course, Dan Weldon, a fantastic driver in IndyCar, ended up winning the Indianapolis 500 2 times. But he tragically lost his life in a crash at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Later in the season, he won his second Indianapolis 500. But
that's That's one beneficial thing about virtual racing. We will not have that issue. It's tragic when that happens.
Dan Wonen, of course, though, one of the greatest drivers. You know, it's weird to say that he doesn't have a lot of time, but he does have 2 Indy 500 wins. But will still, in my opinion, go down as one of the greatest IndyCar drivers ever, being that special first victory and the fact that he won it a second time, and just overall a great talent to have in IndyCar racing.
I would agree.
Cone Dodger in the lead of this Indianapolis 500. Intersport is in second. They're coming up onto that Ed Carpenter car of, I believe the Ed Carpenter car is driven by the Alien Racer, and he has given way to all those drivers. Going into the later part of this race, we're now just having 75 laps to go in this Indianapolis 500. Jonathan, right now, who are you looking at? Who is your favorite to win right now?
I've raced against Intersport and Cone Dodger enough to know that they are very similar drivers, and their relationship is almost like they're bickering brothers. So I would not be surprised if Intersport made a little sneaky move towards the end of the race here and got the win from his friend. That being said, Sinister Owl has been kind of sitting back here, but if any mistakes happen, he's been clean all race. So he would not be surprising either. Really, anybody in this top 5 has the chance.
Cone Dodger, lap 27. That's 127 of 200. We are getting into the later stages of this race. Coming near the end, drivers will start to get a little bit more daring with their moves. They will try to take more risks, try to win this race. This first ever UDL Indianapolis 500. Of course, we want to thank everybody who has helped set up this race. And I think I want to thank Pecan, of course, most of all, because unfortunately, while he is not in this race, having had issues in the very first opening parts of this race, of course, gutting for him, I'm sure. He has really been the mastermind behind this all. He has made this event happen. This event would not happen without Pecan 36, so we want to thank him so very much for making this event possible. And all of the drivers in the United Drivers League who are participating in this race today, they are all part of this too. They are putting on a absolutely amazing Indianapolis 500, which has been extremely exciting. Edge of our seats all race long. All the drivers that are in contention, so very close to each other, and we just want to thank all the drivers who are participating here today. It takes a lot to do an Indianapolis 500. The 500 miles you're driving, virtual miles, 200 laps here, as there was a little bit of a look there from Intersport on the outside. But just so thankful for all the drivers who are putting in their time and effort to make an awesome event for a United Drivers League.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's been great to watch so far.
As Jonathan, you're a co-founder of the United Drivers League. You know, what does this mean for you as a founder of UDL, and as one of the people helping it run it? Like, what does this mean for you, having that get to run this Indianapolis 500, have it go very so smoothly, even if we had a few issues at the start of it? What does it mean to you to be able to get to this point as a league, to host a race this massive?
Well, in order to really explain that, I gotta go a little bit back in time, because when we started this out of drama in a previous league, and I won't get into any of that, but We really wanted something that we could control, and a little bit of contact on the wall there from Intersport. Doesn't look like any damage, but not sure. But yeah, so we started this out of purely wanting something that we could control and make sure it was fun and extremely competitive for everyone. The first season of UDL F1, it was pretty good, but there was a little bit of a lack of competition, and this season has really tightened that up. It's a great front, mid, and back field. We obviously started the UDL WEC League as well, which has been going great, but that's all really culminated into being able to set up these big races and really show the community that we're trying to improve and be the best we can be. And I'm really proud of all the drivers that are participating in this, their pace, how clean they've been, and just everything about this event has gone great as far as, you know, the actual racing is concerned. Yes, there was some hiccups at the start, but, you know, what can you expect?
It's Cone Dodgers into the pits, so as most of the leaders are into the pits. This is a late pit stop, and I believe we might be looking at one of the last pit stops. I'm not sure if it's going to be the last pit stop yet.
I think there will be one more.
Probably around the lap 60s or so.
But yeah, really the short answer is I'm just extremely proud of everybody involved in this.
I guess we should thank Pecan even more now. He's taken over a role as our race director, of course. Jonathan, you did a good job there as well, even with all the connection issues. Very nice call to race from your end on the race director's side. And we are coming out of the pit lane. A lot of clean laps. I have to give it to the drivers. They've been very clean in terms of that as well. There's been a few incidents, but we've been under green the majority of this race, and it's been nice to see as well. As in the lead of this Indianapolis 500, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Dale or Intersport? It's going to be interesting here. I think that Dale might be able to take it with... No, Intersport is your leader of this Indianapolis 500.
I think this is the first time he's in the lead.
This is his first leading lap of the Indianapolis 500. In fact, I might
see another leader.
I might mention that is the same style car that Simon Pagino won, I believe. The Menard car.
Yes, it is.
Looking on the inside, though, is Cone Dodger, and as we move now, this is a little bit later into the race. We're still not into crunch time, as that would be more lap 150 to the end. Does Dale the Whale want to get past Intersport rather quickly? He's looking at avenues. He looked around the outside there for a second there. Maybe more so going a little wide, but he definitely wants to get past him rather quickly. These top two guys are far separated from the drivers ahead of him. Cone Dodger kind of far back. And Snipper and Sinister, 4th and 5th, they're even further back than that. So this is definitely the biggest gaps we've seen so far in this motor race.
Yeah, if I was Dale right now, I'd hold off a bit longer before I try to make that pass.
I think that I think so as well, especially though you want to get ahead from Cone Dodger. I think just settle in the slipstream and gain some time on Cone Dodger. So Cone Dodger's got nobody ahead of him. He has nobody to get slipstream off of this. He's just going to be a sitting duck in terms of overall speed.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Lap 137 of 200 of this Indianapolis 500 at the United Drivers League, and it is Intersport who has found himself in the lead after the last round of pit stops, with Dale the Whale, who has led a good majority of the laps here.
I'm like, I have to say, even with the small mistakes that Dale has had, he's had a very consistent race overall.
But would you say those are small mistakes? Because he's lost a lot from those small mistakes. I mean, they are technically small, but in the grand scheme of things, they might be really big if he gets in that kind of situation again.
Yeah, I say small because of the timing. They weren't.
They weren't at the
in
end of the
crunch
race.
time.
Right,
Yeah,
that's not crunch time, that's true.
He has time to recover.
And he has.
Yeah, if it was late in the race, I would completely agree he would be in a bad position.
Speaking of all these drivers, they've all caught up to each other now. We're back into this general pack of 5, and look at this. Looking on the inside was Cone Dodger on Dale right there, and again, we're not into that point in the race now. We're going to start to see some big overtakes, but that's what makes Indianapolis so special. It's that crunch time of the last 50 laps, the real time where the drivers are really in the big fight scene feeling, where you really start to see drivers take some risks, take some opportunity. They have nothing to lose. They just want to win this race. And you start to see a little bit of some feelings there, as we've seen, especially the Penske cars, get into it a little bit and try to find some avenues. They are coming up onto, this is Mr. Damage, I believe.
Yes, he just got a blue flag.
Lap 140. 4 more to 50. 10 more to 50, and 10 more to the last third of the race. Sorry, last fourth of the race. We'd be 3/4 of the way through. Last fourth of the race coming up. $11 runners currently in this Indianapolis 500, and normally, like, again, we go back to Formula 1. If we had 11 runners in a race, we already know it's going to be a bore fest because everybody's going to get big gaps and everything like that, but not so much here. This is extremely exciting, actually, and I'm on the edge of my bed. I'm not on a seat, unfortunately. I mean, well, technically not, unfortunately, for me.
You and me both.
Yeah, we're just both here, laying a little bit, relaxing, having a good time, watching some good racing, and giving you the best commentary that we can, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're happy with the broadcast and how everything has looked, as we are on board with Intersport 37, who is leading this Indianapolis 500.
Impressive to see Dale just come back so quickly from all these mistakes. Yeah, I saw a little bit of dust from the wall there. I'm not sure if that was lag or contact.
We got some interviews, some in-private interviews from the drivers. Oh, look at this. On the inside is going to be Cone Dodger on the inside of Dale, looking for second position in this race. Dale, again, losing lots of positions here. Now he's going to lose 4. He's going to lose the 4, now 5th, dropping again. This is the third time we've seen that now happen from Dale. Is this now? Does that point to it's on purpose, or has Dale just done the same sort of mistake? Now he's making a challenge on the inside. I don't think that means it's oh, there's a spin! There's a big crash! That's Dale the Whale who spun round! And that's going to be a caution flagged out for sure. And Dale the Whale has dropped it on the turn looked out of turn 2, and he is out. At the moment, he comes back on track with major damage on the front wing. And that is a major incident here at lap 144. He's still got some of that front wing.
Incredibly disappointing for Dale.
Big incident here at Indianapolis, lap 144, and he is going to be going into the pits. Wow, what scenes here at the later stages of this. Dale the Whale trying to make a move on the inside. That looked to be fifth place was originally with, I believe that was Sinister. He was trying to make a move on the inside of, and it did not work, and he has spun around. He almost made contact, actually, with Sinister. He almost hit the back of him, but thankfully Sinister was able to move out of the way of that one. But Dale the Whale, who has led so many laps here at Indianapolis and has had an absolutely fantastic race, it is all gone out the wind. He has crashed here at Indianapolis. He is into the pit. No, Sinister's in the pits. So Sinister, I think, has damage. So he is in the pits as well. So that has killed Sinister's race too. Unless he is just pitting for tire. I don't think that is. So I think that's damage that he has to pit for. So Sinister's race has been hurt a lot here. But Dale the Whale, what disappointment for him.
Extremely disappointing. He's had a great race the entire time.
And I want to also mention, even more so for in this context, that kills Chip Ganassi Racing.
Yes, which is very sad to see.
Because we had Pecan 36 out of this race, Warriors out of this race, Drive the Guard is in the race, but way far back, and Dale the Whale's out. Chip Ganassi Racing, we were talking about this in the beginning, the rivalry between Penske and Chip Ganassi. Well, you just saw here, unless something catastrophic happens to the Penske boys, which, to be fair, I don't want to count them out of it because they are very close to each other, and these boys are going to race till the end, and they're going to make some moves possibly on each other that are going to be big, as they are now going into the pits. Big pit stops here, as this is probably going to be the last round of pit stops, I would think, for this race. But a little early, actually, I thought. But we are under caution, so it's a little bit of a different situation. But the Penske boys could really mess this up for themselves as well, as they're all very close to one another in this lead of the Indianapolis 500. We could see some interesting action between those guys as well. But the rivalry of Chip Ganassi versus Penske, well, that's pretty much all out the door. Penske has kind of stomped on the Chip Ganassi brothers here today. The Andretti boys didn't even make it onto the grid. It has been a Penske domination here at Indianapolis in the United Drivers League.
Yeah. Very disappointing for all of them.
Now, can you believe this? Sinister Owl in the lead. Remember, Sinister was involved in that incident with Dale the Whale.
I can't believe it.
He's in the lead of this Indianapolis 500. He's going quite slow. No, he's not. No, he's dropping back, actually. Okay, so he was in the lead for a bit there, but that was a mistake. It's Cone Dodger who's in the lead. Snipper Pig back to second. Intersport in third. Dylan in fourth. Sinister in fifth. Dale the Whale down in sixth. Ari in seventh. Mr. Damage in eighth. Driven is in ninth. The Alien Racer in 10th. And 11th for Lightning. So drama here at Indianapolis at the end. Dale the Whale into the wall. And he has had his race crushed from underneath them.
He looks like the favorite to win the entire thing. Like, he had great pace in qualifying. Great pace overall throughout the entire race, and then just one mistake. Well, one large mistake, I should say.
But we saw what happened. So the same thing happened in turn number one again. He just lost it in turn one, and he lost all those four positions again. He tried to make an inside move on Sinister, and it didn't work, and he went into the wall. He just lost it. The car, he didn't even make contact. His rear tires just said, nope,
Yeah.
that's not happening, and he went into the wall.
Not really sure what the issue was there.
Sometimes the car just says, I'm not cooperating with you today, and it didn't cooperate with him into that turn, and he is a little bit further down than he'd like to be. Now, he is not out of the race. He's still in 6th, so there is a possibility for him, but
He's just gotta work through the field a little more than he would like to.
we're still under caution flag here.
He will be going green this lap, though. A confirmation.
So we're coming around turn number 3 towards turn 4, and we will be green very soon here at Indianapolis. The 2020 UDL Indianapolis 500 rages on as we come towards lap number 148.
And we are green.
Green, green, green here at Indianapolis. Let's go. Cone Dodger is your leader here for this Indianapolis 500, and it is Snipper Pig in 2nd. The rookie here with Intersport in 3rd. Sinister is in 4th. Dale is in 5th. Dylan in 6th. And let's get racing, ladies and gentlemen. So Dale the Whale is still very much in this race. He is not completely out of it, but is going to be a little bit of work to do, and I'm not sure if we're going to have another round of pit stops.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we might have one more.
It's going to be interesting here with...
They are in...
I don't think... No, I thought it was too early. It's going to be interesting when they make that pit stop. I thought it was going to be around more 160s, late 160s, near 170s. But we might be seeing that a little bit later than that because of what happened. Look at this. The Penske boys were going side by side down the start-finish line, but Cone Dodger with the inside line keeps the lead here. We are now coming up towards lap 150, and that is the beginning of crunch time, ladies and gentlemen. That's when the drivers get a little impatient. Caution's out. Dylan. No, it's Alien Racer again. Another problem, and Ari Speed as well has damage. So we will get into crunch time under caution. They come across the line, and they are under caution flags here with at lap 150.
Now we're really getting into crunch time here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see people starting to do some more risky moves.
Not only that, but as we get into crunch time, we're going to be a little more deeper in the crunch time because of those cautions that have come out. It could be interesting here, folks.
Definitely going to be looking to see what happens.
All the drivers, they're all very close to each other. Can we have that super close finish like I was talking about before? Al Unser Jr. winning by the slimmest of margins against Scott Goodyear. Again, officially, that finish of the race in 1992, 0.043 seconds. The closest finish ever in the Indianapolis 500. Can we have something like that in the past? And that was Dale the Whale. He was, again, going side by side of somebody. And I know the drivers have been told to keep their distance from one another. Don't be tailgating each other.
Yeah, we don't want any collisions.
A collision under caution, that's a sure drive-through penalty. here under caution.
I have been very pleased to see how this race has really panned out, though.
It's been a very, very good race from everybody. They've all had their moments to shine. At least most of them. Some of them, unfortunately, shining in some worser light.
That's really the interesting part of Indy is the smallest things can really affect your entire race.
We are on lap 151 of 200. We are getting into the end stages here of this Indianapolis 500. And I gotta tell you, if there was a real crowd here, they would be absolutely ecstatic with how this race has gone, because it's been a truly exciting one with some very memorable moments.
We will be going green this lap.
Coming through turn number 3, coming to green.
And they're green.
Coming around turn number 4, we are green here at Indianapolis. Lap 151 of 200. Crunch time, boys. Let's get a move on. Cone Dodger in the lead, and that is Snipper Pig in second. Intersport is in third, with Sinister Owl in fourth. Dale the Whale is in fifth. He has dropped back a little bit there, and you can see a little bit of a battle of the pack going behind them, though they are quite a far ways away. In fact, Driven is 2 minutes behind the driver Dylan in front of him. And look at this on the inside. This is a similar move we saw before from Dale the Whale. This is where he spun out, and that move did not work on the inside. He stays back in fifth, but was looking for a move. And that's a collision into the wall. Dale the Whale hit the wall coming out of turn number 4. I hope he doesn't have damage, but he might have a little bit of a lean into some of these turns. That was a big hit there on the wall. Thankfully, no big damage, it looks like, but that was not what you want to see at the later stages of this race for a driver.
Definitely not. It does not look like any wing damage has occurred, but who knows about suspension? Can't really tell.
Again, looking on the inside. Still looking on the inside of Snipper. Oh, sorry, not Snipper, Sinister. And he looked there, but no avenue. Coming on to lap number 154. That was one of the Penske boys. Snipper kind of had a look on the inside coming into turn number 2. And down the back straight. Dropping back a little bit, Dale the Whale from Sinister Owl. And oh, that's a big hit there for Dylan. Or one of the, sorry, maybe not Dylan, Driven. I think Driven hit the wall there.
Yeah, that was definitely drive the guard. It's pretty hard there. Surprised he doesn't have any damage.
Definitely some suspension damage, though. I'd be shocked if he doesn't have any suspension damage on the car.
I would too.
Intersport in third, dropping back a little bit from the two Penske boys of Cone Dodger and Snipper Pig ahead of them. And he is actually getting challenged a little bit from Sinister Owl, has been right up on his gearbox and is looking to try to get ahead of him. We are on lap 156 of 200. We are getting towards the closing stages of this Indianapolis 500, and you can kind of feel the tension in the air. You can feel the drivers getting a little impatient. You can feel them looking for avenues. We've seen already a few moves on the inside coming into some of these turns. drivers are looking to get ahead of other drivers, trying to look for that avenue to create their victory in this Indianapolis 500. Down that back straight. Still a decent final line of cars. The drivers in the top, they're still keeping relatively consistent, and they're not making too many big moves just yet. They're definitely waiting till more so around lap 175 for their big moves of the century for the win here. You're watching the United Drivers League. It's the 2020 Indianapolis 500. It's the first ever United Drivers League Indianapolis 500. And STX Cone Dodger is in the lead, ahead of Snipper Pig. There is your driver, Intersports, currently sitting in third position. And behind him is Sinister Owl, who looked on the inside there for a moment but got cut off. And Dale the Whale behind the rest of them, a little more distant though, in fifth. Jonathan, we come near towards... Sorry?
Go ahead.
No.
Oh, I was gonna say, we've said it multiple times, this being the first UDL Indy 500, but it doesn't really say the significance unless we really point it out. The person that wins this race will be the first ever UDL Indy 500 winner. They will be in the record books for the rest of the time this league is a thing. So it's really important to all these drivers in the lead that they get that recognition from now on.
It's that triple crown. It's that moment that you get to say to yourself, I did it. I won the greatest spectacle in racing. I won the Indianapolis 500. There is no other title like it. Even with being a 24-hour mile winner, we've seen a lot of 24-hour winners. Of course, there's 3 drivers on a team, so it's cool to win that. But there's only one Indy 500 winner. There is not 3 of them. There's really nothing like being called the winner of the Indianapolis 500. It is something that it means more than anything. If there's one thing I have to say about that in the Triple Crown of Motorsport, the most prestigious title out of it is I am the winner of this year's Indianapolis 500, and it's going to be even more for the drivers of UDL to say I was the first ever Indianapolis 500 winner. I was the first person to set history here for United Drivers League.
I could not agree more.
Coming now, lap 162 of 200. Cone Dodger still in the lead. Snipper Pig in second. The last thing any of these Penske boys want to be doing, though, is causing any major incidents for one another. So I know they're working together, and I know they want to win this race, but is there going to be a bit of team play in terms of don't race each other too hard, or are the drivers just going to go all out for it?
I can't see too much team orders happening between these drivers.
Maybe not team orders, but maybe team etiquette. Are drivers going to be maybe a little bit more cautious just knowing the guy next to him?
I honestly, with knowing these drivers personally, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a 2018 Daytona 24 win or finish with the Corvettes battling it out. I really wouldn't be surprised.
Lap 164 of 200. Cone Dodger is your leader here in this Indianapolis 500. Now, we're getting near that point where I originally thought we were going to get another round of pit stops. Jonathan, based on how you know the tire life around here is, how the cars usually react in terms of tire life, how long are we expecting till the drivers make their last round of pit stops, if in fact they are going to?
I think we might be seeing a pit stop in the late 180s. Maybe early 190s, but I don't believe they will be able to make it to the end.
Knowing that maybe we think there's going to be another pit stop. Again, that is a maybe, but we don't know for sure. Knowing that there may be another pit stop, do these drivers, do they hold it back a little bit? Do they not battle nearly as hard as maybe they normally would in the normal kind of crunch time scenario because of the pit stop? Maybe they battle on that last 10 laps. Maybe that's when they really put it all on the line. Maybe they do wait a little bit.
I don't really think that's going to affect the drivers that much. I think they're really, at this point, they're not thinking about the fact that they have another pit stop. They're thinking about, there is a person in front of me, and I want to be by them.
Cone Dodger, though, right now is your leader with Snipper Pig behind him. Rookie for this Indianapolis 500, and would love to be the rookie who said I was the first. What a story that would be. Not only are you the rookie in your first ever Indy 500 in any league, but you're going to win the first one here in UDL. That is a big achievement on your shoulder. But also you have to think about it. Being the first ever winner, that puts so much pressure on you, not only for the rest of this competitive season of races, not only in Indy car, but also in World Endurance and F1. That puts so much pressure on you to continue to compete at a high level and to show why you deserved that Indy 500 win. Does that put so much pressure on you as a driver to continue to keep up that kind of legacy that you're the first?
I say it does. I have not won an Indy 500, but I have won a Le Mans 24. And not for the rest of the season. I knew my season was over at that point. But I did feel like any races moving forward after that season was completed, I needed to really prove myself. I needed to show that race was not a fluke, and it's even more so in the Indy 500. They're very close for how late in this race they really are.
This is definitely one of the more odd Indy 500s I've seen, but in a very, very good way, as we're coming now towards the lap 170 here at Indianapolis. Still under green flag conditions. We've had a few late cautions here, but so far the drivers are keeping it all nice and clean here in the later stages. This means so much to all the drivers here, especially up in the top here. A single line from Cone Dodger. What does the Indy 500 mean? It says, to me, the Indy 500, it's the pinnacle of oval racing. Very little to say there, but a lot to say even more so in general, though. So he is definitely... He knows what this race means. He wants this race to be his, for him to win it all. Let's see if he can do it. Snipper Pig behind him. In his statement, what does an Indy 500 mean to Snipper Pig? He said it's going to be a controversial statement. I've never actually won an Indy 500. I was going to get into IndyCar this year before the obvious happened. But I do know that Indy holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts. So I'm going to respect the track as much as possible, and that's one of the things we need to talk about. Maybe some of the drivers have missed, and that's why they're not doing here. You need to respect the track you are on. This is not any kind of regular racetrack you're on. This is not even Daytona. Daytona is its own racetrack, but really Indianapolis, you have to respect what this track can do to you and what kind of results it can hold for you and what it can mean.
They're definitely dicing it up a little bit more now. Dale up into 4th now.
Getting a little bit more antsy, ladies and gentlemen. Now the race gets to be on a little bit. You can see there Intersport trying to break some of the slipstream there. And then Dale the Whale is moving to the outside. Can he make an outside move around? Intersport looking for 3rd in this race, keeping it so very close to the wall. They're still side by side through the turn. Look at this, still side by side, almost into the wall was Dale the Whale down the start-finish line. And he gets 3rd for position from Intersport. A fantastic move. The Penske boys now getting involved a little bit. That was an outside look from Snipper Pig looking for 1st. And there's contact into the wall. Intersport knocks the wall there. Now can Sinister look to make a move on him? Look at this. The Penske boys are looking here. There's a look around the outside from Snipper Pig. Ultimately slots behind him, though.
They're definitely ready to start racing.
The respect might start to go out the window for the track. Now you got to put it all on the line. Look at Dale. Dale with a major move for 2nd position, coming down the line across the brick line there, and takes 2nd position in this Indy 500. With Cone Dodger still in the lead, Snipper Pig has gone down to 3rd. A fantastic move in the turn number 1. Still looking for 1st. Oh, there's a bit of a block there as Cone Dodger trying to give him the worst line possible into there, and that was a little bit of a bit of a block move. It felt like from Cone Dodger there. He might get warned there from Pecan, the race director. I don't know about you, what you thought of that one.
That's a hard to call. I heard that there's going to be a little bit more leniency towards the end of this race, so.
Dale the Whale getting close, though, to the back of Cone Dodger. Now he's looking, that looked to be a little bit of contact, and now we're trying to maybe go around the outside, and is there damage? Is there damage on Dale as he dropped back quite a lot there, and lights being flashed. Dale was flashing the back of his light. I don't know if he has damage. Oh, he's made contact now with one of the Penske cars, and that was Snipper Pig he made contact with. I think Dale has damage.
We have a caution.
Caution's out. Now, who is this for? I'm not seeing a caution as they're going green flag still. Oh, Sinister Owl. Wow. Sinister Owl into the pits. He has no front wing. That is a sad scene to see for him. He's going to drop back a lot further into this race. What scenes, though?
Dale is in 2nd at the time of calling the caution. He gets 2nd place back.
So Dale in 2nd, Snipper Pig is in 3rd. Cone Dodger in the lead on lap 177. We are now really in crunch time, near almost the last 20 laps of this race. We will, in fact, go to lap 120, I presume, under caution. Do drivers make their last pit stops under caution here? Jonathan?
Sorry about that. What was that?
I was just wondering, do you think drivers will make their final pit stops here under caution?
I would say it's their best bet. Actually, looking down, they have to make their pit stops under caution now. So this will be pit stops. I'm 90% sure.
Why would you say they have to make the pit stops?
The leader currently has 3.3 liters of fuel, as well as second place. I would be very surprised if they did not pit.
Let's see here as they come on through turn number 3. Through turn 4. Let's see what the action is from the leaders. And, yep, we're seeing pit stops, ladies and gentlemen. Final round of pit stops here at Indianapolis. Or so as we'll believe for the moment, unless anybody has damage. Now, here's the key thing. Who comes out in the lead? We've seen some majorly weird changes of lead here in Indianapolis with the pit stop. So it's going to be interesting who, in fact, comes out in the lead of this race. As you see there, I don't believe Cone Dodger went for tires. I think he just went for fuel. Dale the Whale.
Dale is out.
Dale the Whale has taken the lead of the Indianapolis 500. Can you believe it? Through everything that has happened for him, he is your leader here at Indianapolis. Amazing scenes here.
This could have just changed the entire dynamic of this race.
Intersport in second. Snipper Pig is in third. Fourth for Cone Dodger. So not a good pit stop for him. He's now all the way down in fourth. This is going to get interesting here, ladies and gentlemen. I am extremely intrigued of all this. I also want to talk about Dylan. Dylan's in fifth, and he has unlapped himself, and he is well in this fight.
Very impressive from Dylan. He was out of this fight for a long time there.
And with how close the cars have been, they're definitely back into it. We're about to come towards lap 180. Final 20 laps. Real crunch time here, folks. Again, though, we were talking about that respect of the racetrack and possibly also, again, respect of the drivers. We don't want to have caution fest here in the last 20 laps. So I think drivers, while they are going to be making moves, they definitely don't want to be doing anything stupid. We now begin lap 180, so we still have another lap of caution to go. Dale the Whale in the lead of the race. Intersport in second. Snipper Pig is in third. Cone Dodger in fourth. Dylan somehow has found himself in fifth. Sinister is in sixth. And unfortunately for the other drivers, Drive, Ari's Speed, the Alien Racer, and Lightning are far behind the rest of the pack. But again, anything can happen.
Definitely not their race, but very, very close at the front.
Have you seen an Indianapolis 500 this close with so many drivers? It is interesting here, ladies and gentlemen.
Interesting in the best way possible.
Any confirmation on green flag, or are we going for another?
We are going green this lap.
Green on this lap. Come lap 181 of 200, we will go green in the final stages of the UDL Indianapolis 500. And here we go. Dale the Whale speeds up and gets ready for the start. Dale the Whale's got a fantastic start off the line actually here, ahead of Intersport, and you can see Snipper Pig already on the back of him, looking to make an early move for second position in this race. Let's see how he can do coming into turn number 1. Looking around the outside is Intersport, and he's getting very close to Dale the Whale as well. Looking on the inside. Oh, that was very, very close contact almost between the two front runners. Caution's out. That's a big crash, and that's RA Speed.
It is a quick yellow.
Quick yellow out. So, we already have our first yellow, though, conditions already. And we were just talking about this. We don't want a yellow fest in the last 20 laps. Well, we're starting it early, though, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully that's not indicative of what's to come in the crunch time period of this Indianapolis 500 race.
Yeah. It was luckily a back marker, so no leaders involved in the incident.
Now we have just 10 more runners in this race. Mr. Damage is not in this race anymore. So maybe Pecan maybe feels a little bit better about that scenario, that he does not have to contend with the fact that Mr. Damage finished it and he didn't.
Yeah, this is about to be very interesting 18 laps.
About to go green again here in Indianapolis. Dale the Whale, somehow, through all of it, back in the lead of this Indianapolis 500 Intersport. Has been a sleeper for most of this race, but now very much in the fight. In second. Snipper Pig in third, Cone Dodger in fourth, and Sinister Owl in fifth. Dylan finds himself very much in this fight as well in sixth. As they come around turn number 3.
I think we will go green next lap.
So next lap green. Time here in the Eastern Seaboard, it is 4:09 p.m. We started a few hours ago, and it has been a pretty quick moving Indianapolis 500. Not too much problems going on for everybody. It's been relatively nice and clean for everybody, so that's good to see. Lots of nice, green, clean racing laps, and a very close Indianapolis 500. We were talking about this from the Freedom Lights 100, which was such a fantastic race, but we were talking about like, oh, well, we're not really going to be seeing that kind of close racing, and while we haven't seen the overtakes necessarily, we've definitely seen the following. This has been a extremely interesting Indianapolis 500 here for UDL.
Yeah, interestingly enough, if you think back to the Freedom 100, Snipper is in the exact same position that he was in coming into the last lap and ended up winning it.
He won it on a last lap crash, which somehow gave him the victory out of all of it. And I wouldn't put it past any of the drivers here to get involved in that kind of scenario and give him the win again. But what it would mean to win both the Freedom 100 and the Indianapolis 500 and be a rookie and be the first ever winner. I mean, the accolades just keep going. And here we go. We are speeding up a little bit. You can hear the engines rev a little bit higher, and we are under green flag, I believe. Yes, we are. Green, green, green here at Indianapolis 500. And we are on lap 184 of 200. And Dale the Whale is in the lead of this race. And it is Intersport in second, Snipper Pig in third, Cone Dodger in fourth, and already a challenge for the lead.
Intersport's been holding back for a long time
And look
today.
at this! He takes the lead away from Dale the Whale. Dale the Whale, though, still has the inside line coming into turn number 3 and takes back the lead of the race. And it is Intersport who slots back behind him. And here we go, a drag race down the line. Intersport looking to take back the lead for the moment that he had it, and he might get it on the inside as Dale the Whale. Dale the Whale takes back the lead. And look at the two Penske boys in the back there, Cone Dodger and Snipper Pig. Cone Dodger takes third. And I think Snipper Pig, actually, look at this, a little bit of weaving going on of Dale the Whale.
Racing.
Getting very, very close, and Snipper Pig has lost a few bundle of positions here. He's now behind Sinister, and look at this, trying to hang it around the outside. Still is Intersport. Intersport looking for the lead of this Indy 500, and he doesn't get it just yet. And now Cone Dodger is getting involved with all this battling going on. Look at this, so very close around the outside, trying to take the lead away, and he drops back a little bit there. Intersport slots back behind Dale the Whale.
Incredible racing right now.
Going back down the back straight. Look at Intersport. He's got that little edge of the front wing coming to try to hang it around the outside. The inside line's the better line, though, and it's Dale the Whale who has it, and he takes back that lead. Still trying to keep it around the outside. Just about a front wing with that rear tire, and look at this. Here comes Cone Dodger again. Cone Dodger has a fantastic run in third position. He's on the outside. On the inside still is Dale the Whale. That's the preferred line to have on the inside, and keeps the lead of the race.
Close.
Oh, that was maybe it looked like maybe a little bit of contact between Intersport and Dale the Whale, though very minor indeed. And look at this. Here comes Cone Dodger with a run, trying to take the lead of the Indianapolis 500. There's contact from the back. Into the wall is Intersport and Cone Dodger.
God.
Big crash, and that is going to be a caution comes out, and there is a massive crash. Snipper Pig
Sinister was involved as well.
Sinister into the wall as well, and that is a big crash here at Indianapolis. And near the end of the race, Cone Dodger into the wall made contact with Intersport. Sinister involved as well. Dale still in the lead.
Only
Wow.
12 to go. Wow. They were racing extremely hard there.
Now I want to really talk about this one. Snipper Pig is way back into this, ladies and gentlemen. He's now in second. Dylan in third.
This will be a normal caution. There will be no red flag scenario due to the severity of the incident.
What scenes here in Indianapolis. What racing we've had, and what an ending we might have here on our hands, folks. That was a major crash in the very end of it all. And whoa, what's this? Dale's into the pits. Interesting tactics here. The leaders are into the pits. Not expected.
I don't understand.
Not expected at all. I'm assuming just tire change? No fuel? Snipper going down the pit lane, and it is just tires. No fuel in the car. This is a really interesting move from the leaders here. I'm a little bit surprised to see a pit stop this late. But I guess they just want that fresh rubber on the car. Jonathan, would you have pitted, or do you think this is a little unorthodox? I mean, then again, we're not in the race, so maybe...
Yeah, I don't really know what the strategy call is here. What? Not sure what Dale did there.
Was off track for a second there. He is Intersport's back into. He was back in the second there for a moment. Is now this is a little weird going on right now. I'm not too sure what's Snipper Pig is in the lead of the Indy 500. What's going on? I'm not really sure what now. Dale's been, I'm guessing something's going on with race director. Dale is in third. Dylan is in second. Snipper Pig is in the lead of this Indy 500.
I'm not sure what exactly happened. I would assume Dale would be in
maybe some order. How it was in order of in the pit stop in the pit lane. I'm not too sure, but nonetheless, Snipper Pig is your leader in this Indy 500, coming across the line to begin lap 190 under caution. So it's a bit of a caution fest, but it's interesting cautions, and an even more interesting one with... now, I do want to mention Intersport still is kind of in this race, so he's not completely out of it, and Dale's not out of it either. What's this? Snipper taking a really wide... somebody was there. Was that one of... I think that was Cone Dodger. Cone Dodger's a lap down, so Cone Dodger's way out of it now. Somehow Intersport came okay out of this. But gutted for Cone Dodger. What a great race he was running, but at the very end here, it has gone all out the window for him. Jonathan, what's your reactions as we come into the final stages here?
I was just listening to the race director, but I have no clue what people are going to do as far as the last few laps of this race. It was so weird to see the leaders in the pit lane. It's kind of changed everything I thought would happen.
Just when you think the best is happening, you don't know anything. We are still under caution here at Indianapolis. We will begin lap 191 under caution. A little longer of a caution than I would have expected, but Pecan, race director, he is deciding when we will go green. I presume this is going to be the final lap. Under caution.
Yeah, I think this is final lap.
Take a last sip of my Monster. Get myself hyped up, ladies and gentlemen. And let's get ready. We should be going green very shortly here. There's 40 of you in this chat. Thank you all for joining us. It's the final moments here in this UDL Indianapolis 500. My name is IJKX, Jonathan in the commentary booth. Thanks for joining us. Drama near the end, and Cone Dodger way out of it now. Going down the back straight, still no confirmation on green on this lap.
Green on this lap.
Going green. Lap 192 of 200, we will go green. Snipper Pig will be your leader in this Indianapolis 500. Some point the game give me a good camera angle. Thank you.
Green flag.
Green flag racing. Green, green, green. Here at Indianapolis, lap 192 coming up. And Dylan in second behind him. A terrible start for Dale. He has dropped back a little bit from that pack at the top two. And let's get racing. And right on the back of the car, trying to go on the inside, was Dylan. And we are under crunch time here, folks. This is the big final few laps in this Indianapolis 500. Contact between Intersport and Dale. They made a little bit of contact at the rear there. Going on the inside was Cone Dodger there in the back. Dylan looked on the inside. Had it covered. Now Dale trying to go on the inside of Dylan.
So close between these leaders.
In the turn one, Snipper Pig in the lead. What scenes here? Can the rookie win his first Indianapolis 500? Can he be the first ever UDL Indianapolis 500 winner? We don't want to jinx anything here, folks. Intersport was looking on the inside of Dale, ultimately not getting that run he would have liked now. But look at this, Dale going on the inside of Dylan. Can he take second position away from him? Still hanging on the inside. There's contact. Is there hit into the wall? Dylan almost went into the wall there. Dylan still has the inside line coming out of the final turn. Yes, he has taken second position in this race. That has allowed Sniper, though, to take a decent lead here in the final stages of this race. On the inside was Intersport on Dylan, and he will take third position. Now so Dale close. Trying to get a run here. He is very, very close to the back of Snipper Pig. Dale wants this race win. He has had all the trouble in the later parts of this race. Here he goes, trying to hang it around the outside, trying to get close. Will he take the lead? So very close between them. Oh, look at this through turn number 3, coming towards turn number 4. And it is on the inside, and it's Snipper Pig who has it.
Incredible racing.
Intersport on the inside of Dale. Now will Intersport look at this run he's gone at the later stages of here. Lap 195 of 200 on the inside. Snipper Pig still has the lead. No, he doesn't. Intersport went wide. Is he going to take the lead of this race? Yes, he is. He takes the lead very late on, but it's still Snipper who has part of it. Dylan has gone to Dale has dropped down the 4th, and look at this, they're almost side by side. It looks like a formation lap as two of them are side by side. There's contact into the wall, Dylan, and that's a crash. Dylan into the wall, and there's damage on the front wing. I think we'll still go under green though. We don't see any cautions being called out. Yes, we'll still remain green. He was near the pit lane. Snipper still in the lead on the inside as Intersport trying to get to the lead of this race. Big scenes here at the end.
Snipper held on to it so long on the outside.
Intersport currently has the lead of this Indianapolis 500, and look at this, Snipper Pig dropping back a little bit. Snipper Pig has had some problems. He's about to lose a huge bundle of positions. Intersport is currently in the lead of this Indianapolis 500. Dale the Whale, though, is still hanging around in second position, and Cone Dodger is well back within the mix of this, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the mix of it because he's getting lapped a little bit here, but the Penske boys are trying to help each other out here. Dale the Whale trying to get involved. And a little bit of settling down here at a lap 197 of 200. Both being settled down is one thing, and look at this. Now we're starting to see that weaving. We talked about this. Some weaving was allowed here on this sort of blocking, and Intersport's doing everything he can to break that slipstream of Dale the Whale. Looking on the inside was Snipper Pig on Dale the Whale. Couldn't make it happen. Look at, almost into the wall. Look at this. Trying to pee on the inside. Around the outside was Dale the Whale. Can he take the lead of the Indianapolis 500? Look at this, a spin and a crash. Who was that? Was that Cone Dodger?
That's Cone Dodger.
That was Cone Dodger who spun around. We're still under green flag conditions here as we're in the final few laps here, ladies and gentlemen. Snipper Pig has dropped back a little bit for out of this pack, but that was a spin by Cone Dodger, and adding insult to injury. No, now we are under caution. We slow up. Under caution.
Well, that...
Are we going to end this race under caution?
I I don't know if it might be one to go. There's a
Dale the
request for a
Whale.
red flag.
Red flag?
There's a request for a red flag. Their stewards are delivering. Red flag is called.
Red flag is called in the 500. Lap 199 out of 200. Can you believe what you are seeing here, folks? So we have a red flag here.
Dale is controlling the pace. There will be 2 laps. A 2-lap race. They are forming up now.
This is going to get dicey here, folks. This is more than we could have hoped for in the final parts of this race. There's Snipper Pig, still very much in this fight. And here we go,
We are
getting
green.
ready. Green, green, green here at Indianapolis. So you said there's 2 laps, so we still have one more after this?
Yes. We are on a final lap shootout.
Final lap shootout. Dale the Whale has gotten a fantastic lead off of everybody, ahead of Intersport. Intersport still looking, though, trying to put it around the outside. This is going to get close here, folks. Intersport contact between Dale and Intersport. Intersport takes the lead.
They're almost 3 wide.
On the inside, big crash. Dale the Whale's out of the race. Snipper Pig takes the lead.
Pig.
Can he do it? Snipper Pig around the final turn. And can you believe
Snipper
it?
Pig.
He is going to win the UDL Indianapolis 500. Unbelievable at the end. He
In the
won.
exact
He
same
won
way.
the Freedom 100 through a crash. He wins the Indianapolis 500 through a crash. Snipper Pig is your winner in the UDL Indianapolis 500.
Incredible finish. Dale and Intersport pushed just too hard. I am in...
Wow. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, with an end time of 2 hours, 56 minutes, and 24 seconds and a half, Snipper Pig is your winner of the first ever UDL Indianapolis 500.
Now, I want to clarify. Snipper Pig is now the defending UDL F1 World Champion. He is the Freedom 100 winner this year, and he is the Indy 500 winner this year.
And he's a rookie, and it's the first time ever. That's a lot of accolades in 2020 for Snipper Pig, and that's a year.
Snipper Pig is officially the luckiest person I have ever seen in my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, unbelievable racing that we just saw.
I mean, I he did the right thing. He was in a great position the entire race. If there was any mistakes, he did set himself up for any mistake to go his way. I'm speechless.
That was special. That's all I can say is that was special.
That was very special.
And ladies and gentlemen, that somehow Snipper Pig finds himself in these situations, and you say, oh, well, maybe he got that free win there. Listen, he lasted, guys. That's the thing. It's one thing to say, oh, well, we got that win because of the crash. It's like, but he lasted. You're there. You get the opportunity. You were there for the opportunity. That could have been somebody else who got that opportunity, but Snipper Pig finds himself. He keeps himself safe, and Snipper Pig has won the Indianapolis 500 through attrition.
I want to quote somebody that almost every racing fan will know, Vin Diesel. Whether it's a win by an inch or a mile, a win's a win. And he got that inch.
Snipper Pig.
Incredible.
From the outside of row number 1, through heartbreak and through drama from many a people in this race, has won the Indianapolis 500 in the United Drivers League.
Incredible day of
Unbelievable.
racing.
And, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that we couldn't have an Indianapolis 500 in real life, I just want to say how much it means to be able to have an Indianapolis 500 here for United Drivers League, have it be so fantastic of a race. And hats off to all of the drivers who were here. And hats off to Pecan for setting up this event, for making it what it was. Thank you, Jonathan, for doing your part as partly race director. And it was a pleasure to call this race with you guys. And there is not much else to say except thank you to everybody who watched the race. We had a total peak of viewership of 41 concurrent viewers here, which I believe is a record for United Drivers League.
It is.
And we still have 37 of you here today. Just thank you so much, everybody who joined us to watch this race.
Can I just quickly say, tune in next week on Sunday for the UDL F1 League race. It is a day race at Bahrain, as well as the 31st of this month for the UDL WEC race at Nürburgring GP. Wow, what a race.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure to subscribe to United Drivers League if you haven't. And, wow. Snipper Pig 007, your winner in the 2020 UDL Indianapolis 500. My name has been IGKX. Jonathan joining me in the commentary booth. And have yourselves a wonderful night, ladies and gentlemen, for wherever you are in the world. Maybe it's morning for you. I'm not too sure. Nonetheless, have yourselves a great day. This has been United Drivers League signing off from our first ever Indianapolis 500.